Chapter 2384. It was the peerless sacred artifact, the immortal monument. This was the shadow of a person's name. Once upon a time, this peerless saint artifact had established an illustrious reputation among the various races. It had killed who knew how many demons and saints from the abyss had been killed by it. Beneath the monument were the white bones of the sages from the various races. To a certain extent, the power unleashed by the immortal monument could even be compared to the primordial heavenly dragon talisman. Furthermore, it was at its peak. The problem was that the 2,900 ancient heavenly dragon talismans they had were not considered peerless sacred artifacts. After all, they were not perfected. There was still a huge gap between them and a real peerless sacred artifact, let alone the immortal monument at its peak. But now, those lowly humans were actually so shameless as to personally bring out this supreme magic treasure. Clearly, they were here to destroy the entire Hema city. Their intentions were damnable. Activate the restrictive arrays. Immediately activate the 180 million demon clan god sealing arrays in Jianghu city. We must stop this guy from using the peerless sacred artifact, the immortal monument. Otherwise we will all be doomed. City Lord Patrick roared anxiously. He ordered anxiously and tried to activate all the restrictive arrays in Jianghu city. Although there were many restrictive arrays in Jianghu city, they were usually only activated for defense. Only during times of war would all the restrictive arrays be activated. After all, if they were activated normally, it would consume too much energy. Even with Jianghu city's wealth, it would not be able to withstand such consumption. Unfortunately, it was too late. The Purple Thunder Sage and the Rain Listener Sage had abandoned their armies and gone to Jianghu city alone to catch the demons off guard. They would not give them a chance. The Purple Thunder Sage raised the immortal monument and threw it out. Immediately, the black immortal monument flew into the air and expanded rapidly. It turned into a huge black monument that was hundreds of thousands of kilometers long, suppressing the universe. It was extremely domineering. It fell from the sky and smashed into Jianghu city. No, no, no. City Lord Patrick and the other demon sages screamed in shock and anger. But even if they wanted to help, it was already too late. In the sky above Jianghu city, thousands of restrictive arrays flickered. Layers of energy barriers stacked on top of each other, forming a powerful and thick spatial barrier. However, this was completely useless. The immortal monument fell as if a group of stars were falling, a deity descending. Boom! In an instant, all the restrictive formations in the sky above Jianghu city were torn apart like they were made of paper. All the restrictive formations were destroyed in an instant. At that moment, Jianghu city was shaking. It was as though an earthquake with a magnitude of over 10 had occurred. The space within a radius of hundreds of millions of li shook violently, giving rise to an aura of destruction. Layers of condensed energy fluctuations spread out in all directions with Jianghu city as the center. It was like a black mushroom cloud surging into the sky. Even the entire city seemed to be torn apart by this powerful shockwave. All of the restrictive formations were destroyed by this extremely brutal power and completely shattered. Dense cracks appeared on the ground, and a large number of buildings were reduced to dust at this moment. Countless demons were shaken into a mist of blood in that second. A gigantic black monument smashed into the ground, crashing into a corner of Jianghu city. The surrounding buildings were completely destroyed as though a nuclear explosion had taken place. Ah, Purple Thunder old dog, you're courting death. You're courting death. How dare you destroy my Jianghu city? I'm going to slaughter all 18 generations of your ancestors. City Lord Patrick's eyes were wide open and his heart was bleeding. Jianghu city, which he had painstakingly managed for countless years, was almost completely destroyed at this moment. Even if they won this battle, Jianghu city would suffer heavy losses that could not be compensated for. One could imagine how furious it was right now. It could not be described with words. He could not control the anger in his heart at all. He instantly flew out of the altar and charged into the sky above Jianghu city, trying to stop the Purple Thunder Sage and the Rain Listener Sage's next move. If the two medieval sages were to start a massacre in Jianghu city, there would probably not be many sages left in Jianghu city. This would be a huge blow to the demon race. Attack! We can't let this group of human sages behave atrociously in Jianghu city. Kill these two old dogs. How dare they destroy Jianghu city to such an extent? This hatred is absolutely irreconcilable. We haven't even found trouble with the Thunder City of the human race, but the human race actually came to find trouble with us. Damn it. We must kill them this time and destroy them completely. But what about the altar? There are still a large number of primordial heavenly dragon talismans here. Do we need to send people to guard it? Moreover, this is a crucial moment. No need. This is the deepest part of the Demon Divine Temple. There are powerful space-time restraining formations everywhere. Even the medieval sages would not be able to enter easily. This is the safest area for anyone who can enter. That's right. Cut the crap. Everyone rush out and kill all these human sages. Otherwise, the entire Jianghu city will be destroyed. What's the use of the following plan then? The ancient demon sages were both shocked and furious. They felt a burning pain on their faces. Before they could even make a move, these old dogs of the human race had actually come to their doorstep and taught Jianghu city such a painful lesson. If they did not kill all these human sages, they would lose face. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. They did not waste any time and immediately followed City Lord Patrick out of the Demon Divine Temple. They flew towards the sky above Jianghu city and attempted to surround Purple Thunder Sage and Rain Listener Sage. However, at this time, the medieval sages of the human race finally arrived. They were evenly matched. Haha, Patrick, this move is not bad, right? How does it feel to see Jianghu city destroyed? You actually dared to plot against the Thunder City of the human race. How dare you? Previously you thought that you were very good at keeping secrets. Little did you know that the demon race has long been infiltrated by the human race. Nothing can be hidden. City Lord Purple Thunder Sage laughed with a treacherous look on his face. Although he did not know how the Sage of Fengdu had obtained the information, he did not mind causing trouble for the demon race at this moment. He might even deliberately mislead them so that they would panic and think that he was surrounded by spies. Just this sentence alone made the faces of many medieval demon sages turn ugly. It was as if they had eaten feces. This was because these words had indeed poked at their sore spot and made them suspicious. Cut the crap. How dare you come to Jianghu city and behave atrociously? All of you will die. City Lord Patrick would not let this cunning bastard continue. If he said a few more words, their morale would collapse. Then what was the point of fighting? They might as well just surrender. Chapter 2385. Jianghu City, a Manor. Xia Ping's World Tree's roots covered the entire Jianghu City. He naturally knew the current situation. The entire Jianghu City's defenses had been destroyed by the Purple Thunder Sage's attack. The peerless sacred artifact, the Immortal Monument, had fallen into the city and landed quietly in a deep pit. It seemed that the previous attack had depleted the Immortal Monument's power. Even so, its body emitted a faint divine might. Even sages did not dare to approach it casually. This was because they all knew that this peerless sacred artifact was the life treasure controlled by the human race patriarch. With a single thought from the human race patriarch, it would immediately break through the void and return to his hand. This treasure was probably lent to the Purple Thunder Sage temporarily, but it could not be used many times. Therefore, even though the Immortal Monument seemed to have depleted its power, no sage dared to approach it. They finally started fighting. Xia Ping did not continue to care about the Immortal Monument. He knew that this treasure could not be moved recklessly. Otherwise, it would definitely be discovered by the human race patriarch. He looked up into the sky. At this moment, almost all the sages of Jianghu City and Thunder City had gathered together. Both sides did not waste any time and started fighting the moment they met. Waves of space-time domains collided with each other, producing a terrifying destructive aura. It was as though anything within the range of this space-time domain would be destroyed. It seemed as though all the laws of time and space in this region had lost their effectiveness and turned into a chaotic state. In order not to destroy the entire Jianghu city, the City Lord Patrick and the other sages avoided fighting in this place. They immediately rose into the sky and left the city, moving the battlefield to another place. After all, the battles of the sages were terrifying in the past. The suppression of the space-time domain was enough to distort space-time. Most matter would be destroyed by this power. Even some undying sages and near-ancient sages would be severely injured when they came into contact with this power. In serious cases, they might even turn into ashes and cease to exist. A good chance. Xia Ping's eyes lit up. He could sense that all the sages in the depths of the Demon Saint Hall had left in order to deal with the threat of the human race army. In fact, they had no choice but to leave. If they did not have a sage, they would probably be at a complete disadvantage against the menacing human race sages. By then, not only would they lose the primordial heavenly dragon talismans, but they would also die here. Whoosh. Having this thought, he did not hesitate. With a flicker, he entered the rift and arrived at the sacred beast hall. As soon as he arrived at the Demon Saint Temple, he immediately sensed that there was a powerful restrictive formation in the void. It was as if time and space had solidified and become one, unshakable. Even though these ancient demon saints had left the Demon Saint Hall, the Demon Saint Hall's restriction formation was still in operation. It was almost impossible for ordinary enemies to invade the Demon Saint Hall. Restrictive formation? You've really underestimated me. I'm just an empty shell. Xiaoping smiled. In front of his World Tree clone, all the restrictive formations in the world were just decorations. This was because the true body of the World Tree could appear in the endless spacetime at any time, and no spacetime could bind it. Each of its roots could easily connect to the infinite dimensions of the universe. Whoosh! His figure flashed and became invisible. Countless roots of the World Tree extended from his body. With a snap, they easily tore a black hole and directly passed through many restrictive formations. The restrictive formations of the entire Demon Saint Hall, as well as some immortal demon saints and ancient demon saints who were still guarding the Demon Saint Hall, could not sense anything. I'm finally in. Because he had set up the Eye of Karma on the body of Zarum, he knew all the restrictive formations, secret doors, and traps inside the Demon Saint Hall like the back of his hand. After entering this place, he easily avoided all the traps like an old horse. He flew toward the interior of the Demon Saint Hall. On the way, he passed by many palaces, and the restrictive formations around them were useless. Whoosh! After a few more minutes, Xiaoping finally arrived at the deepest part of the Demon Saint Hall. It was a huge altar which seemed to be the deepest part of spacetime. It was also the most heavily guarded place in the Demon Saint Hall. The depths of the altar were filled with powerful auras and various divine restrictions. These restrictions were intertwined with each other and were constantly scanning every spacetime. Any enemy hiding around the altar would have nowhere to hide. If an enemy touched the restrictive formations here, many ancient demon saints would immediately sense it. Unfortunately, Xiaoping was independent of the three realms with the help of the clone of the World Tree. He walked in the void. No matter how powerful the restrictive formations were, they could not find his traces. Primordial Heavenly Dragon Talisman. Xiaoping stared at the primordial heavenly dragon above the altar. It was so huge and vast that it was shocking. Its body seemed to be covered with dense and unfathomable Dharma lines, which were devouring the origin of the Thunder Continent. This primordial heavenly dragon was made up of over 2,900 talismans. Its body was filled with a powerful aura, which was condensed into a substance, as if it was the ancestor of the dragon. Even the surrounding spacetime was affected by it, causing layers of distortion. Although he had seen this primordial heavenly dragon on the body of Zarum with the help of the Eye of Karma, he had never been so shocked when he saw it with his own eyes. Furthermore, this was only an incomplete primordial heavenly dragon talisman. If he added the 46 primordial heavenly dragon talismans he already had, the 3,000 primordial heavenly dragon talismans would be condensed into one, restoring the glory of the primordial era and displaying its peak glory. Great treasure. It's indeed a great treasure. Xiaoping was extremely excited. He could clearly sense that the 2,900 primordial heavenly dragon talismans above the altar contained unfathomable secrets. It was as if each talisman contained a law of heaven and earth that had been engraved by supreme dharmic powers. It contained the invincible sage's understanding of the laws of the universe. If he could obtain all of them, he would probably obtain the invincible sage's understanding of the laws of the universe. It was equivalent to obtaining a supreme law scripture. Perhaps, this was the true mystery of the 3,000 primordial heavenly dragon talismans. Such treasures can indeed be maximized only in my hands. It's a complete waste of God's good gifts in the hands of those demon saints. Xiaoping thought carelessly. He felt that all the supreme treasures in the world should belong to him. Only then would they not be covered in dust. Boom. At the thought of this, he did not hesitate. He circulated the massive and thick dharmic powers in his body, and a huge hand that blanketed the sky immediately grabbed out. It blanketed the sky and encompassed the entire area. He wanted to grab the 2,900 plus primordial heavenly dragon talismans and take them away instantly. 2K Reading Network. Chapter 2386. Bus. But just as Xiaoping's massive hand attempted to grab the 2,900 plus primordial sky dragon talismans, the slumbering primordial sky dragon suddenly awoke. It opened its eyes and emitted a terrifying dragon might. The 2,900 plus primordial sky dragon talismans simultaneously transmitted a terrifying dragon will. It was arrogant and unyielding, as though it wanted to reign supreme over everything and devour countless worlds. It was extremely ruthless. The tyrannical and ruthless will of the primordial sky dragon surged over like a flood, blanketing the world as though it could destroy a world. It was so terrifying that there was no end to it. Clearly, these primordial sky dragon talismans were extremely arrogant. they disdained being controlled by any puny creature. Even though the demonic sages had obtained more than 2,000 primordial sky dragon talismans, they were unable to refine them to this day. They were unable to make these primordial sky dragon talismans submit. At most, they could borrow a portion of their strength. This seemed to be an agreement between the primordial sky dragon talismans and the various demonic sages. The demonic sages provided resources and energy while the primordial sky dragon talismans provided strength. Therefore, Xiaoping's actions immediately violated the might of the primordial sky dragon talismans. It infuriated the talismans and wanted to flare up to suppress this ant that did not know his limits. Despite not being in a complete state, you still have such strength and will. As expected of the primordial sky dragon talismans that were renowned in primordial times. Even after countless epochs have passed, they still possess such might. Xiaoping's eyes revealed a glint. Unfortunately, you have no idea who you are facing. I have inherited the bloodline of the supreme fiend celestial of hell, the infernal golden crow. Even if your true form is the ancestral dragon, it's impossible for you to stop me. Boom. He immediately powered his infernal golden crow bloodline as a dark golden beam shot out. It made him seem like he had transformed into a dark golden sun that emitted eternal light that penetrated every inch of the void. Vaguely, an infernal golden crow walked out of the chaos. It emitted a divine might as though it was a fiend celestial that ruled over everything. No creature could stand up to it. It let out a cry that seemed to cause the laws of the universe to tremble. The primordial sky dragon seemed to feel a fear that came from the depths of its bloodline. It was as though it had seen a predator at the top of the food chain. It felt a heartfelt fear. According to the legends, there was a divine beast, the golden winged roc, that fed on dragons, and the golden crow was no weaker than the golden winged roc. The golden crow of hell, which had obtained the power of hell, was even more powerful than the golden winged roc. Even the legendary ancestral dragon might not be able to match the infernal golden crow, much less the primordial sky dragon, which was only the offspring of the ancestral dragon. It was completely incomparable. This was the suppression of the bloodline. The golden crow of hell slashed out with its claw. It seemed to be a claw that spanned across the ages. This claw came from the depths of hell and spanned countless dimensions. It contained the power of the mythical and epic realms. Dong. The illusory primordial celestial dragon let out a shrill cry as its massive golden body immediately split into two. It was unable to withstand such a terrifying bombardment. The mental imprints on the more than 2,900 primordial sky dragon talismans instantly disintegrated completely. The primordial sky dragon immediately exploded into smithereens, disintegrating into countless talismans that could no longer gather together. Come here. Xiaoping's huge hand reached out like a huge hand that blotted out the sky. Instantly, it enveloped the entire altar. All the scattered primordial sky dragon talismans were gathered in the palm of this huge hand. At that moment, the primordial sky dragon talismans no longer had any arrogance. It was as though all their essence, chi and spirit had been dispersed. They were completely subdued by this power. Good, very good. I've finally obtained the 3,000 primordial sky dragon talismans. As long as I can refine them completely and fuse them into one, I can immediately turn them into a complete peerless sacred artifact. I can reproduce the glory of the primordial sky dragon talismans. With this peerless sacred artifact in hand, I can kill anything that stands in my way. Even if an ancient Fey sage is in my way, I can blast it apart with a single punch. I'll be invincible. Xiaoping clenched his fists in excitement. However, he had yet to refine the more than 2,900 primordial sky dragon talismans. Therefore, he needed to leave the Demon Saint Hall and find a safe place to refine the primordial sky dragon talismans completely. This way, the Dharma treasure would completely belong to him. Even if the dragon scientist Titania came looking for him, she wouldn't be able to take the primordial sky dragon talismans away from him. However, at that moment, the disappearance of the more than 2,900 primordial sky dragon talismans immediately triggered the restriction on the altar. The entire Demon Saint Hall shone brightly and caused a huge tremor. Damn it, what's going on? The restriction array inside the Demon Saint Hall has been triggered. An enemy has broken into the Demon Saint Hall. How is this possible? Why was there no movement before? How did the enemy break in? For countless years, no enemy has ever been able to break into the Demon Saint Hall in Heimu City. Now, an enemy has actually broken in. What exactly happened? Has the Demon Saint Hall really become a sieve? Any Tom, Dick, or Harry can enter. Don't bother about how the enemy broke in. Since he dared to trigger the restriction array, he can forget about leaving this place. Even a sage from the Middle Ages will die here. Find the intruder and kill him. Tear him into pieces. All the demon sages stationed in the Demon Saint Hall knew that something big had happened. An enemy had definitely broken into the Demon Saint Hall and triggered the restriction array of the entire Demon Saint Hall. They were shocked and angry. Apart from the demon sages in the Demon Saint Hall, the demon sages who were fighting with the sage from the human clan in the distance had their minds connected with the altar inside the Demon Saint Hall. When the primordial sky dragon talismans disappeared, they naturally sensed it and were immediately enraged. "You're courting death." City Lord Patrick shouted angrily, "Who is it? Which bastard is so daring? How dare you sneak into the Demon Saint Hall in Jianghu City and steal our primordial sky dragon talismans? You're courting death." He couldn't imagine how furious he was. In order to obtain more than 2,000 primordial sky dragon talismans, Patrick and even the entire demon clan had paid a huge price, blood and time. Now, that despicable, dirty and shameless thief had sneaked into the Demon Saint Hall and stolen more than 2,000 primordial sky dragon talismans while Jianghu City was in an accident. He did not leave a single one behind. This kind of hatred was higher than a mountain and deeper than water. If he were still in the Demon Saint Hall in Jianghu City, he would definitely catch that thief, tear him into pieces, and exterminate his entire clan to vent his hatred and anger. Chapter 2387. What? Someone stole the primordial heavenly dragon talismans hidden in the demon's sacred hall? Bastard. Over 2,900 primordial heavenly dragon talismans. You have no idea how much our demon race paid for them and how much effort we put in. Which bitch dared to do such a wicked thing? How did he sneak into the depths of the demon's sacred hall when we were not in our lair? Our demon's sacred hall is heavily guarded. Even a sage from the Middle Ages would not be able to sneak in silently. That thief must have been watching us for a long time. Otherwise, he would not have acted so coincidentally right after we left the demon's sacred hall. That wretched slut. She actually dared to set her sights on our Jianghu City and our demon race. There will be no place for that bastard in this world. Go back. Go back immediately and capture that thief. Let him suffer a fate worse than death. The demon sages from the Middle Ages were going crazy. They could not wait to capture the thief who stole the primordial heavenly dragon talismans and beat him half to death. There was no need to interrogate him. They did not know how long these primordial heavenly dragon talismans had been refined. They were just short of 46 primordial heavenly dragon talismans to restore the glory of the primordial era and give the demon race another supreme weapon. However, this supreme weapon had been stolen by a bitch. It was like a peerless spiritual fruit that had been cultivated for billions of years was stolen when it was about to ripen. How humiliating was that? They could not wait to rush back and snatch back all the primordial heavenly dragon talismans. On the other hand, many sages from the Middle Ages of the human race had also seen this scene. Why did these demon race bastards suddenly go crazy? They look like they have eaten dog shit. The Rain Listener sage immediately noticed the situation. It seems that the primordial heavenly dragon talismans hidden in the depths of the demon's sacred hall have been stolen. A sage from the Middle Ages squinted his eyes. He was good at eavesdropping and could easily sense the psyche waves of the demon sages. He naturally knew the reason for their rage. What? The 2,900 primordial heavenly dragon talismans that those bastards worked so hard to collect were stolen at this time? Moreover, someone sneaked into the demon saint temple without anyone noticing. In this way, wouldn't the demon clan suffer a great loss? Wouldn't their billions of years of blood be wasted? A middle ancient sage rejoiced in the misfortune of others. At this moment, he also learned the reason for the war from the city lord, Purple Thunder Sage. It turned out that these demon race bastards had ulterior motives and were attempting to use the primordial heavenly dragon talisman to destroy the human race's Thunder City. If they succeeded, they would be doomed. Even the saints of the Middle Ages might not be able to survive this earth-shattering catastrophe. With regards to the demon clan's misfortune, he naturally took pleasure in their misfortune. He even wanted to step on their heads a few times. Isn't this too much of a coincidence? The primordial heavenly dragon talisman was stolen not long after the primordial demon sages left the Demon Saint Hall. The Purple Thunder Sage had a strange look on his face. He felt that this was too much of a coincidence. It was as though someone had planned this from the shadows. It was as though the human race and the demon clan had been plotted against and used as chess pieces. The goal was to take advantage of the chaos to obtain more primordial heavenly dragon talismans and cause the demon clan to suffer a great loss. His divine senses spread out and shrouded the void. Intentionally or unintentionally, he placed his divine senses on Fengdu's sage who was behind him. This was because this information was provided by this fellow. Not long after the war started, the demon clan's primordial heavenly dragon talisman was actually stolen. This matter was very suspicious to Fengdu's sage. If Fengdu's sage had not been in the battlefield, he would have suspected that it was Fengdu's sage who did it. Haha, City Lord, regardless of whether this is a coincidence or a plot, isn't the demon clan's misfortune the human race's luck? In this situation, the more losses the demon clan suffers, the better. If the demon clan really obtained the complete primordial heavenly dragon talisman, wouldn't they ascend to the heavens? Rain Listener Sage did not mind being used by others. As long as this matter developed to his benefit and the human race's benefit, it was enough. After all, who in this world was not a chess piece? Even an invincible sage could not transcend. That's right. The angrier those medieval demon sages are, the more they stomp their feet in anger. They must be tired of living to dare to plot against the human race. Another medieval sage nodded in agreement. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. As soon as he finished his sentence, Purple Thunder Sage and the other medieval sages of the human race immediately took action and stopped the numerous medieval demon sages who wanted to leave and return to Jianghu City. Purple Thunder, old devil. Upon seeing this situation, Patrick bellowed angrily, I'm not in the mood to fight with you now. Don't stop me from returning to Jianghu City. Otherwise I'll fight you to the death. Do you understand? He was flustered and exasperated. Seeing the actions of Purple Thunder Sage and his group, he knew that this group of bad humans was definitely trying to stop them from returning to Jianghu City and snatching the primordial heavenly dragon talisman. He even suspected that the person who snatched the primordial heavenly dragon talisman was a member of the human race. Otherwise, how could it be so coincidental that the demon sacred temple was stolen right after they left? He did not believe that there was nothing fishy about this. Fight to the death? Isn't it already a fight to the death? Purple Thunder Sage said in disdain, still trying to threaten me? What a joke. It's like saying who doesn't have a backer. So what if I stop you? Are you going to bite me? In any case, if you want to leave this place, it's just wishful thinking. He was not afraid of Patrick's threat at all. In terms of strength, everyone here had comprehended the space-time domain and reached the pinnacle of the medieval era. In terms of background, he also had many human race patriarchs standing behind him. How could Patrick do anything to him? These threats were completely useless. Stupid demon, you still want to threaten us humans? You're really crazy. Don't think that you're still the absolute overlord of the past. Now the human race has surpassed you. What are you shouting for? If you have the guts, come and fight me. You speak as if you can do anything to us. What a joke. One by one, the medieval sages laughed loudly. They were not afraid of the demon race at all. They were all from the pinnacle races and had been fighting each other for a long time. How could they be threatened by the other party? On the contrary, the more flustered and exasperated the other party was, the happier they were. Good, very good. Purple Thunder Sage, it seems like you really want to stop me. Forget it, I'll kill you all now and then go back to kill that despicable thief. Patrick was enraged and his lungs were about to explode. This Purple Thunder Sage was clearly harming others without benefiting himself. Seeing that his Jianghu City was in trouble, he wanted to take the opportunity to hit him while he was down. How could he tolerate such vexation? Bang, bang, bang. The medieval sages from both sides started fighting again. Multiple space-time domains bombarded each other, shattering the vacuum. Chapter 2388. At this time, deep inside the Demon Saint Temple, Xia Ping had already sensed that after he had snatched more than 2,900 primordial heavenly dragon talismans, the entire Demon Sacred Hall was in an uproar. His whereabouts could not be concealed for the time being. Even the tens of thousands of restrictive formations in the Demon Saint Temple were activated, especially the space-time formations, which seemed to freeze time and space in this space, causing all the enemies to fall into a state of standstill. This won't do. I must escape from the Demon Temple immediately. If the Demon Temple's restrictive formations are all activated, I won't be able to escape at all. It will be like falling into a swamp. Xia Ping's eyes flashed. He was not afraid of his own death. After all, these were just two clones. If he died, he could condense them again at any time. The problem was that if these two avatars died, the treasures he had on him, the 2,900 plus primordial heavenly dragon talismans he had painstakingly obtained, would probably be left behind in this place. In this way, all his hard work for so long would be in vain. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. But at this moment, hundreds of demon saints scattered in the Demon Saint Temple flew over from all directions. With the help of the Demon Saint Temple's restriction formation, they instantly teleported to this place. Bastard thief, surrender immediately. Hand over everything you stole from the Demon Saint Hall, or I'll execute your entire family. How dare you come to our demon temple in Jianghu City and behave atrociously? You're courting death. No one in the world can save you. The Beast Saints roared furiously. Their voices reverberated like thunder, resounding through the space-time and covering every corner. At the same time, they contained the power of a primordial spirit attack. It was enough to make an undying saint dizzy. These demon sages were not simple. There were at least 20 to 30 near-ancient demon sages and 70 immortal demon sages. Basically, they were the elites left in the demon divine temple by Jianghu City. They were responsible for protecting this important place. As for the demon sages of the Middle Ages, there were none. In order to fight against the human race, they had already turned out in full force. In the blink of an eye, they arrived in front of Xiaoping. Their powerful auras enveloped this space, not giving Xiaoping the slightest chance to escape. A human. Some ancient demon sages sensed the human aura on Xiaoping, and their pupils constricted. Who are you? Why did you break into our demon sacred hall to steal our treasures? What did you steal? This was because this place was a forbidden area of the demon divine temple. Only the demon saint of the Middle Ages had the right to enter and exit this place at will. They did not know what was hidden in this forbidden area. Even so, they knew that the item that had been stolen from the forbidden area was extremely important. Otherwise, the demon sages of the Middle Ages would not have been so furious and exasperated. Who is it? Hearing this, Xiaoping stood with his hands behind his back and looked down. You can call me Wu Wudi. Wu Wudi? Where did Wu Wudi come from? Which human saint is he? Strange, where did this human race sage come from? What did he do earlier? I don't know at all. He's probably a nobody. Fuck, a nobody dares to behave atrociously in our Jianghu city? He must be tired of living. Many beast saints were confused. Although Wu Wudi's name was very famous in the other regions of the universe, it was not enough in the mystic zone. He was just a thunder retribution realm cultivator. How could these demon sages take notice of him? The corners of Xiaoping's mouth twitched when he heard that. He felt very depressed. He thought that he would be able to scare this group of demon sages by saying that he was Wu Wudi. He did not expect that they would still think that he was a nobody. He was a wanted criminal in other regions of the universe, but now he had become a nobody that was looked down upon by these demon sages. He even said that he didn't dare to come here and behave atrociously. It was really outrageous. A bunch of ignorant old antiques. What do you know? You can't keep up with the times. You don't even know who Wu Wudi is, so what do you know? Don't block my way or I'll send you all to hell one by one. Don't make me angry. Xiaoping's face was very dark. He was a little angry. Angry? So what if a puny human race undying realm is angry? Don't talk nonsense with this nobody. Invading the Beast Saint Hall is a crime punishable by death. Beat him half to death immediately. A little thief dares to be so insolent in our territory. He won't even know how to write his name when he dies. Do it, kill him immediately. The Beast Saints sneered. They did not care about Xiaoping at all. Although he had invaded the Beast Saint Hall without a sound, he was at most at the immortal realm. No matter how strong he was, there was a limit. They had so many immortal Beast Saints and ancient Beast Saints here. They could also activate the Beast Saint Hall's restriction formation. They had the right time, the right place, and the right people. There was no reason for them to be afraid. Boom. As soon as they finished speaking, some Beast Saints did not waste any time and immediately acted. Their space domains covered every corner of this place. Suddenly, a powerful space power shook and the void rippled. This place was almost completely sealed. Nothing could escape from this place. Insignificant tricks. Xiaoping sneered. He did not care about these Beast Saint space domains at all. Putting aside the fact that his main body was an ancient saint, he had a deep understanding of the law of space. Even though his clone's cultivation was only at the immortal realm, his soul was near the immortal realm. He could still see through all the mysteries of space. Moreover, his world tree clone was the darling of space. It could naturally merge with countless dimensions. A mere space domain was like a piece of paper to it. Divine ability, touch of the world. Whoosh. In an instant, his body trembled. Hundreds of thousands of roots surged out. They looked like tentacles. They seeped out from the void and attacked from all directions. Dong, dong, dong. With just one attack, the entire Beast Saint Hall spacetime was torn apart by the tentacles. Shocking cracks appeared everywhere. It was as if the Beast Saint Hall was being torn in half. The Beast Saint space domains were like pieces of paper. They could not withstand the power of the World Tree's roots at all. They were instantly cut into dozens of pieces. As a result, the Beast Saints were caught off guard. They did not expect their space domains to be so fragile. They could not even withstand a single attack from a puny immortal saint. As their space domains were destroyed, the Beast Saints' primordial spirits were heavily injured. The Beast Saints let out miserable screams. They were heavily injured on the spot. They could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood from the depths of their bodies. Chapter 2389. Impossible? He's just a human immortal sage. How can he be so powerful? Even the space domain of a near-ancient sage can't do anything to him. He can easily tear space apart? Some near-ancient sage beasts couldn't believe what they were seeing. They were near-ancient sage beasts who had comprehended the law of space. They were much stronger than sempiternal realm experts. But against this sempiternal realm human, their space domain was like paper. They were no match for him at all. How could they accept such a ridiculous thing? What kind of supernatural power is this? I've never heard of it before. How did he do it? Many near-ancient sage beasts were also confused. They felt that although Wu Wuti hadn't comprehended the law of space, the power he displayed just now contained extremely strong space power. It was as if he was born to be the ruler of space. It was this unimaginable power that made their space domain ineffective. This guy can't fight alone. Activate the space-time restriction of the Demon Temple immediately and kill him. We can't underestimate him. Some near-ancient sage beasts immediately stopped underestimating Xia Ping. This guy had displayed a power that could sweep away all near-ancient sage beasts. Even if he was a nobody now, he would definitely become famous in the future. If they allowed this human to escape from the Demon Temple, the demon race would become the laughingstock of the entire universe and all the races in the universe. They couldn't accept such a humiliation. Yes, activate the restriction of the Demon Temple immediately. The many sage beasts looked at each other and formed hand seals. They wanted to activate the restriction of the Demon Temple and kill Wu Wuti. Although they had the advantage in numbers and were stronger than this human, the problem was that the Demon Temple in Heim City had lost its treasures. It wouldn't be too much to use any means. They didn't care about any means to deal with a mere thief. It would be the greatest humiliation to let this kid escape unscathed. You want to activate the formation? Do you think I'll let you do that? Xia Ping could sense that the restriction of the entire Demon Temple was being activated. The terrifying aura of the restriction seemed to be gathering in the depths of the void. Once it completely descended, the spacetime within a radius of billions of kilometers would be sealed. When that happened, he would be captured by these sage beasts. He couldn't allow that to happen no matter what. Die. Xia Ping's eyes gleamed coldly as he circulated the infernal golden crow bloodline in his body. Boom! In an instant, terrifying dark golden infernal golden crow flames spread out from his body. These dark golden flames spewed out from the 108,000 pores on his body. Wisps of dark golden flames quickly condensed into thousands of golden crows of hell. They seemed to have a mind of their own as they attacked in all directions. Crash! Suddenly the infernal golden crow's flames burned the void, and the seals of the restriction formations in the surroundings were instantly burned to ashes. Even the void collapsed from the heat and small black holes appeared. At the same time, some immortal demon sages were caught off guard. Their chests were instantly pierced by a wisp of dark golden flame. As a result, their souls could not withstand the power of the exceptional flame and were instantly burned to ashes. They could not even resist for a second. Quick, get out of the way. That's a unique flame of the universe. You can't touch it. Otherwise even your soul will be burned to ash. Some sage beasts screamed as they sensed the terror of the dark golden exceptional flame. Such power was comparable to the whirling calamity poison of the universe. They could not withstand it at all. The immortal demon sages and sage beasts could not care about activating the restriction formations here. They fled in all directions in fear. Unfortunately, Xia Ping's World Tree clone was already on standby. The entire Demon Saint Temple was only this big, and the roots of the World Tree covered every corner of the void. It was as if the entire Demon Saint Temple had become the domain of the World Tree. Under such a domain, these sage beasts were like caged birds. No matter how they tried to escape, they could not escape from the palm of the Gautama Buddha. Even if they kept struggling, it was futile. Swish, 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 swish. Thousands of roots of the World Tree stretched out from the void like god-slaying spears. They contained boundless killing intent and attacked from the depths of the void from all directions silently. There was not even a spatial fluctuation. Even a demon sage from ancient times would not be able to detect such an attack. Dong, dong, dong. In just an instant, the demon sages present were caught off guard. Their bodies were easily pierced through, and they were nailed in midair. Intense pain spread throughout their bodies and they let out shrill screams. At the same time, the world tree produced a powerful devouring power. With a slight suction, the souls of these sage beasts were all devoured. It was like a soul-devouring monster. In an instant, the bodies of these sage beasts became empty shells. The power of the world tree clone was also rising rapidly. It was replenished by a huge amount of energy. It seemed to be about to advance to the early stage of the near-ancient realm. This is the world tree, the universe demon tree. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. He increasingly felt that the world tree was a terrifying demon tree. These roots penetrated the various worlds and stole the origin of countless worlds to strengthen its own origin. At the same time, when dealing with the living beings of the various worlds, it could also devour the souls of these living beings. Nothing could stop it. If it was given enough time, perhaps the entire universe's source would be devoured by it. How can this be? How can this human Wu Wuti be so terrifying? Some immortal Fey sages were scared out of their wits. What kind of joke is this? This Wu Wuti kills sage beasts like killing chickens. Why haven't I heard of such a human demon before? Some immortal Fey sages were scared out of their wits. There was a huge difference between them and the sage beast. However, in front of Wu Wuti, these sage beasts were as weak as chicks. They were nailed in midair without any ability to resist. This scene was too terrifying. Even though they were experienced and knowledgeable, they were completely scared out of their wits. Run quickly. This is a monster. We're not his match at all. The immortal Fey sages did not dare to stay and fight Wu Wuti. They all fled. If even the sage beasts were not his match, wouldn't staying here be sending them to their deaths? Unfortunately, they had already fallen into the world tree's trap. There was nowhere to run. Dong, dong, dong. Tens of thousands of the world tree roots shot out from all directions. In just an instant, they pierced the bodies of the immortal Fey sages and the remaining sage beasts, killing them all. Only a few sage beasts saw that the situation was bad. They immediately burned their soul origin and tore apart the restrictive array formation with all their might. Only then did they escape from this dangerous place. At this point, more than 100 sage beasts had died here. Whoosh, whoosh. Xiaoping waved his hand and immediately collected the corpses of the sage beasts. These were all top-grade materials. He could not waste them. Chapter 2390. Boom! Just as Xiaoping collected all the corpses of the demon saints, a powerful aura descended from the depths of the void and enveloped the entire demon saint temple. Damn human, you're courting death. An earth-shattering roar reverberated. It seemed to have caused space-time to vibrate. The void within a radius of hundreds of millions of kilometers trembled, producing a terrifying resonance of laws. This power was enough to kill an immortal sage. The one who spoke was the medieval demon saint, Zuram. While the human clan and the demon clan were fighting, it sneaked away. While the human clan was unprepared, it used a supreme escape method and finally returned to the demon divine hall. As soon as he returned, he saw hundreds of demon saints killed by Xiaoping. These demon saints were the true elites of the demon race. It would take a lot of resources and time to produce one demon saint. Now hundreds of demon saints had died. God knows how many years it would take to make up for this loss. Even if there was a fierce war, there might not be so many demon saints killed. But now these demon saints were killed by this little bastard. Such hatred could not be washed away even by rivers. Oh no, the humans didn't stop all the primordial demon sages and even let one of them escape. Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. He didn't expect Zuram to be so powerful that he could hide from all the medieval demon saints and sneak back to the demon saint temple alone. The power of the Eye of Cause and Effect on Zuram had long disappeared. After all, it couldn't last for too long. If it continued to exist, he would know Zuram's every move. Whoosh. Without saying a word, he immediately used the touch of the world and tore apart many restrictive formations of the demon saint temple. A huge hole appeared in the void for easy entry and exit. At the same time, he used the supreme bloodline ability of the infernal golden crow doppelganger, infernal golden crow wings. With a swoosh, a huge pair of dark golden wings appeared on his back. They were covered with dense golden crow runes. Each rune was extremely mysterious and contained unfathomable power. In an instant, the pair of dark golden wings unfolded. With a slight flap, he instantly entered the void and fled toward the demon saint temple and the outside of Heimu city. Thief, don't even think of escaping. Even if you flee to the ends of the earth, I will not let you go. The medieval demon sage Zaram roared furiously as his eyes almost popped out of his eye sockets. If he let this bastard escape like this, not only would he fail to avenge the deaths of over 100 demon sages, he would also not be able to bear the responsibility of losing over 2,900 ancient heavenly dragon talismans. Each and every one of them would become a serious criminal of the demon race and receive severe punishment. They would be locked up in cages. Such consequences were simply unbearable for them. Feeling the fury of Zaram, Xiaoping narrowed his eyes as he instantly sensed a powerful intent locking his soul firmly like a gangrene. Xiaoping couldn't get rid of it at all. He knew that this was the powerful consciousness of the demon saint of the Middle Ages. It contained the power of space-time and could travel hundreds of light years in an instant. Furthermore, these over 2,900 ancient heavenly dragon talismans had been refined by the demon sages day and night, leaving traces of their spiritual imprints on them. Even though he had barely suppressed the will of the ancient heavenly dragon talismans, he had not completely refined them. Therefore, traces of spiritual imprints were still left on them. With the help of these spiritual imprints, the demon sages could still locate him. However, he was not afraid at all. The dark golden wings on his back flapped constantly. In an instant, thousands of dark golden wing phantoms appeared behind him. These phantoms seemed to have formed a powerful propelling force as they constantly moved forward, ignoring the surrounding space. In just a breath's time he had escaped from Jianghu city. With a loud bang, the moment Xiaoping left, a palm slapped from the depths of the void. It twisted the space-time and instantly left a terrifying palm print on the ground, destroying everything in its path. The medieval demon sage Zaram chased after Xiaoping furiously, but he could only see Xiaoping's shadow. Wu Wudi of the human race, don't even think about escaping. No matter who's backing you, you will die today. How dare you steal the ancient heavenly dragon talismans that our demon race has painstakingly obtained over countless years? This is the hatred of killing our father and exterminating our entire race. How dare you rob such a treasure? Even if you die 10,000 times, you won't regret it. Zaram flew into a rage as he bellowed furiously. Boom! In an instant he transformed into an incomparably huge bird. Zaram was a primordial ferocious bird that covered the sky and seemed to have a trace of Kunpeng bloodline in his body. A tyrannical power of space erupted from its body as it displayed its huge black wings. In an instant, it disappeared into the dimensional space and chased after Xiaoping. Almost instantly, he also chased out of Jianghu city and headed for the depths of the Thunderbolt continent. The two of them chased one after the other. There's actually a fish that slipped through the net. At this moment, in the center of the battlefield, many ancient sages of the human race had also noticed Zaram's action. They couldn't help but raise their eyebrows. Despite being on guard, a medieval demon sage still managed to escape. However, it couldn't be helped. After all, the demon race was also a peak race with numerous means. If they paid a certain price, it would be very difficult for them to stop the other party. But the guy who stole the ancient heavenly dragon talisman seems to be a human? Have any of you seen that kid? The ancient sage of the human race sensed a trace of aura from Xiaoping. He was a little surprised that the guy who caused such a huge commotion in the Demon Saint Palace was actually a human of the human race. Could this be a secret plan of the human race? However, the level of secrecy was too high. Even they weren't qualified to know about it. I've never seen him before. He seems to be just an immortal sage. However, a mere immortal sage is actually so daring. He even dared to break into the Demon Saint Palace in Jianghu city. Furthermore, he really left unscathed. That's really impressive. However, he's being chased by Zaram. It doesn't bode well for him. The Rain Listener sage touched his chin. That brat is extremely daring. Since he dared to do such a thing, he must have many means. In my opinion, that brat won't be killed by Zaram that easily. The Purple Thunder sage had a strange look on his face. He felt that since that guy dared to use such a trick to plot against two peak races, it wasn't as simple as being extremely daring. It was simply boundless. It would be strange if such a person could die so easily. That's right. In that case, there's no need to care about that brat. Now that the medieval demon sages have lost a helper, they're in a disadvantageous position. This time we must make them pay the price. Even if we can't kill them, we must make them suffer irrecoverable injuries. The Rain Listener sage's eyes revealed a trace of cold light. He felt that this was a great opportunity. Of course, we must make this group of demon race bastards pay a heavy price. Otherwise, it wouldn't be worth such a huge commotion. The Purple Thunder sage was filled with killing intent. Chapter 2391. This Zaram is indeed powerful. Xia Ping used the golden crow wings of hell to fly in the depths of the void while operating his powerful magic power. Sometimes he flew high into the sky, sometimes he crossed mountains, and sometimes he drilled into the ground. The surrounding void couldn't obstruct his pair of golden crow wings. It seemed that nothing could isolate him. He was like a free deity above the 9 heavens. Moreover, the more he flew, the faster he became. It was as if the endless power of the void had become the driving force for his wings, and the tyrannical power of space was added to his wings. The golden crow wings of hell could be considered as an extremely powerful bloodline ability. It was said that it could easily fly up to the 9 heavens and enter the 9 serenities of hell. Damn it! The medieval demon sage Zaram was infuriated. He gritted his teeth and tried his best to catch up. However, he realized that no matter how hard he tried, he could only see his opponent's back. He was only a little bit behind, but he couldn't catch up with him. If this continued, both parties would fly out of the Thunder Continent and enter the boundless Thunder Sea region. Once they entered the Thunder Sea region, they would face endless void storms and extremely complicated geographical environment. Even the medieval demon sage dared not trespass such a place. Therefore, no matter what, he had to stop this thief as soon as possible. He must not let him escape. Human thief! Zaram roared furiously, "Stop right now. How dare you snatch the immemorial heavenly dragon talisman? Aren't you afraid that your entire clan will be exterminated after offending us? You can't escape from us. Furthermore, the immemorial heavenly dragon talisman is a peerless sacred weapon. It was once the natal artifact of a wanted criminal in the universe. It's a murder weapon. Even if you take it away, you won't be able to keep it. Have you considered the consequences?" He threatened Xia Ping ferociously in an attempt to frighten this human. "Thanks for the reminder." Xia Ping said arrogantly, "Since you also know that this is a murder weapon, then you shouldn't have kept it for yourself. If it was in the hands of other races, your demon race actually dared to do such a disgraceful thing. You broke the rules everywhere and even tried to exterminate the humans of Thunder City. Fortunately, this matter was exposed in time, and this matter didn't start. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a place for your demon race in the entire universe. Therefore, I'm taking away the primordial heavenly dragon talismans that you worked so hard to obtain. It's only beneficial to you and not detrimental to you. I'm saving the lives of your demon race. It's fine if you're not grateful, but you actually dared to whisper to me. Don't tell me that your demon race doesn't know what it means to repay kindness? Shut up, bitch." After hearing this, Zaram was so furious that he almost spurted out a mouth of blood. It had seen some shameless humans, but it had never seen such a shameless guy. It was clearly this bastard who snuck into the demon sacred hall and shamelessly stole the primordial heavenly dragon talismans that their demon race spent billions of years to obtain. Yet he still wanted them to be grateful to this kid? What kind of logic was this? Since when did a thief dare to speak to the owner of the lost talismans in such a righteous manner? It felt like they had lost a supreme treasure, yet they still had to be grateful to this bitch. "Bitch, since you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. A puny immortal sage dares to be arrogant in front of the Middle Ages sages? You're courting death." Zaram roared furiously. Bloodline ability, ominous rocks heaven and earth net. In an instant, it formed a seal with both hands and slapped out with its claws. Its body erupted with the might of a peerless ferocious bird. Suddenly, a huge black claw appeared out of nowhere, spanning thousands of kilometers. It was as if the space within thousands of kilometers had collapsed and was smashed into pieces by this claw. Everything was destroyed by the violent power. With this claw, the boundless energy between the heavens and the earth immediately turned into hundreds of millions of dense lines of laws. They seemed to be condensed from the power of time and space. These lines of laws fell down like a storm and intertwined with each other, forming a huge net that covered the sky and the sun. This was Zaram's bloodline ability. It had absorbed the essence of 18,000 dimensional spaces, the origin of laws, Kunpeng's bloodline, and other powers to condense this huge net of laws. Once it enveloped the enemy, they would immediately fall into the domain of time and space. Both time and space would stop in an instant. No enemy would be able to escape from this huge net. In the blink of an eye, Xia Ping sensed that his body had been confined by the power of time and space. The huge net of time and space had enveloped the surrounding space, covering hundreds of light years. No matter how fast he was, it would be difficult for him to escape hundreds of light years in an instant. Within the range of the huge net, time seemed to slow down. All living beings within the scope of the law of time felt as if their speed had slowed down by more than 10 times. Even Xiaoping's Golden Crow of Hell clone and World Tree clone could not resist it. This power of time and space that was condensed from time and space seemed to be above everything else. He realized that he felt as if he had fallen into a swamp. It was extremely difficult for him to move forward. If it continued like this, he would definitely be caught up by Zaram, and by then he would be screwed. After all, these two clones had only reached the immortal realm. In terms of cultivation realm and magic power, the two clones were far inferior to the ancient demon sage. Haha, little thief, you finally can't escape anymore. Under my bloodline ability, Ominous Rock's heaven and earth net, even the ancient demon sage would fall into a state of time and space slowing down, not to mention a mere immortal sage like you. Surrender now. Martial path ability, heavenly rock fist. Zaram was extremely proud when he saw Xiaoping's expression. He knew that he could finally stop this kid from escaping. As long as he broke this kid's wings, he would be trapped like a turtle in a jar. Without saying a word, he circulated the powerful bloodline power in his body and immediately executed his supreme ability. Dense Kunpeng runes surged out from the depths of his body and gathered in the depths of his fist. Boom! He threw a punch at Xiaoping. At this moment, it seemed as if he had communicated with the Kunpeng bloodline in the depths of his body. It was as if the power of the Kunpeng, a mythical beast from the ancient times, had been infused into his body. In an instant, the shadow of a Kunpeng flew out from the depths of the void. It was as if a mythical beast from the ancient times had descended. It emitted an unparalleled divine might that shook the void and rivaled the heavens. This punch even contained the power to distort time and space. It emitted an eternal light of time and space. The surrounding void was torn apart. At this moment, it seemed as if the surrounding space had turned into a state of chaos. Even if the ancient demon sage was hit by this punch, he would be severely injured and his bloodline broken. Chapter 2392. Die. The medieval demon sage Zaram's face turned hideous. He seemed to have imagined the scene of this damned immortal saint dying in front of him. This brat would be punched to death and turned into minced meat. Even an immortal body wouldn't be able to survive this punch that could distort time and space. All of his immortal cells would be shattered. Whoosh. At this moment, a black figure suddenly appeared in front of the medieval demon sage Zaram. Who's there? The medieval demon sage Zaram was startled. He didn't expect someone to show up at this moment. I'm Fengdu. At this moment, Xiaoping's original body had finally stealthily arrived from the battlefield. As the item on his clone was of great importance and couldn't be lost, he had personally come to receive it. Even with the strength of the two immortal clones, he might not be able to resist the power of the medieval demon sage. What, Fengdu? Since you dare to stand in my way, then let's die together. The medieval demon sage Zaram roared. Without wasting any time, he even triggered the strength of each of his cells and exerted his utmost efforts to launch his supreme bloodline ability. An even more terrifying aura erupted from his body. It was as though the time and space within hundreds of millions of miles had been distorted. Karma barrier. Xiaoping didn't dodge. He immediately took out the treasure of hell, Karma book. Immediately, a huge book appeared in front of him. At the same time, it exerted a huge transparent barrier. It was an energy barrier condensed by countless universal laws. It contained karma and karma, including the 6 paths and samsara. It seemed to be the endpoint of all Taos and the origin of everything. Boom. In an instant, the punch that could distort time and space bombarded the karma barrier. A terrifying power erupted like a landslide and a tsunami, attempting to destroy the barrier. However, it didn't work at all. It was as though it had fallen into cotton and was wrapped by a mass of karma energy. No power could escape from the karma barrier. How is this possible? Seeing this, the medieval demon sage Zaram's pupils contracted. He simply couldn't believe it. Even an ancient sage of the same level wouldn't be able to resist his all-out attack and scathe. However, facing this weird energy barrier, his punch that could distort time and space was easily resisted, as though everything he had done was futile. If there's a cause, there's an effect, and if there's an effect, there's a cause. Pay them back in their own coin. Xiaoping formed a seal with both of his hands and activated the power of karma inside the book of karma. His eyes shone with a mysterious light as countless karma spell symbols flowed inside the karma barrier. Impossible. Not only did he block the attack, he seems to be able to reflect it. In a split second, Zaram sensed an extremely dangerous chi. The weird energy barrier was twisting as if it had produced a terrifying counterforce. It sensed that the attack that contained all of its power seemed to want to return and bombard itself. One had to know that this was an attack that even the demon sage of the Middle Ages might not be able to withstand. If it were to hit itself, even if it didn't die, it would be severely injured. Not good. Run. Zaram felt goosebumps all over his body as he sensed great danger. He immediately wanted to escape, however it was already too late. The rebound speed of the karma barrier was beyond his imagination. Boom! In a split second, the punch chi which was flying towards Xiaoping returned as if it had locked onto Zaram's chi. As a result, the surrounding time and space were twisted and destroyed. Ah! At once, Zaram was hit by Zhang Tai's punch. The terrifying destructive force spread over his body in a split second and penetrated through his chest, spurting out blood like it was worthless. He let out a miserable shriek as his body was torn apart. Even his soul was severely injured. The surrounding time and space within hundreds of millions of miles were shattered. Mountains and rivers seemed to have turned into nothingness at this moment. This region had been completely razed to the ground. Hundreds of millions of huge cracks that spanned more than a dozen light years appeared on the ground, and a terrifying spacetime aura pervaded everywhere. Broken spaces appeared everywhere, connecting to countless spacetime dimensions, and terrifying spacetime turbulence erupted in every place. Even so, with the powerful immortal strength of the demon sage of the Middle Ages, Zaram was still alive. His flesh and blood that were scattered across the space rapidly wriggled and gathered together, forming a complete body. Just you wait, human. How dare you steal from us demons? You will definitely become the mortal enemy of us demons in the future. Even if you escape to the end of the universe, you won't be able to escape death. We demons will definitely not let you off. Zaram let out a miserable shriek. At this moment he was in an extremely miserable state. He didn't know how many years it had been since he suffered such a serious injury. If this force was just a little stronger, he would have died for sure. Furthermore, he would have died under his own power. How aggrieved was that? Whoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, he immediately activated his speed ability and displayed his Kunping wings, attempting to escape into the depths of the void. This was because Zaram knew that his current situation was too dangerous. If he continued to stay here, he would definitely die in the hands of this weird human saint. He didn't want to snatch the primordial heavenly dragon talisman anymore. He just wanted to leave this dangerous place alive. After all, compared to his own life was more important. Even if he lost this precious treasure and was punished by the higher-ups of the demon race, he wouldn't die. At most, he would be thrown into prison. After hundreds of millions of years, he would still be able to come out alive. Therefore, after comparing the two options, he immediately made a decision. Needless to say, as a medieval demon saint, Zaram was extremely fast at escaping. He instantly escaped into the depths of the endless space and time. Using his spacetime realm, he traveled hundreds of light years away in a single breath. Even a medieval demon saint couldn't catch up with Zaram. Still want to escape? Come out. Reincarnation pen, kill deities and demons. Xiaoping's eyes flickered with a cold light. How could he let Zaram escape? If he did that, he might have one more powerful enemy in the future. Furthermore, the secret of his doppelganger might be discovered by Zaram. No matter what, Zaram had to die in this place. He had to eliminate the root of the problem. Swish. In an instant, a reincarnation pen appeared in Xiaoping's right hand. It gave off an unparalleled immortal might. Vaguely, a primordial underworld deity appeared behind him. With the karma book in his left hand and the reincarnation pen in his right, he seemed to be the king of hell who could decide the life and death of all the living beings in the universe. Karma force and reincarnation force intertwined with each other and seemed to form an indescribable, great force. An indescribable chi was born in the depths of Xiaoping's body. No universal laws could interfere with it. Chapter 2393. One reincarnation stroke determines life and death. Xiaoping looked at Zaram in the distance. His golden crow's eyes of hell could see through time and space and trace karma. No matter how fast Zaram moved, he couldn't escape from Xiaoping's eyes. Holding the reincarnation brush, Xiaoping lightly pointed at the void. Boom! In an instant, a terrifying force burst out from the depths of the reincarnation brush. It was like the first ray of light at the beginning of the chaos, the purest and most primitive force. This ray of light traced the karma lines and crossed the infinite time and space, arriving in front of Zaram in a split second. Impossible. What's this force? Zaram's body shook violently as his hair stood on end as if he had sensed a fatal crisis. He couldn't help but look back to see what was happening. However, this time it would be eternity. At this moment, a white light flashed across time and space. With a boom, it penetrated through Zaram's head and tore apart his soul. It was like a strike of the immemorial underworld deity, which traced back the karma force. Dead? I'm dead just like this? How is this possible? Zaram became dumbfounded as he couldn't resist at all. Therefore he fell into the endless darkness while his huge corpse just lay in the air. As expected of the reincarnation brush, its power is indeed extraordinary. Xiaoping clicked his tongue and sighed with emotion. If he only relied on his own strength, he might not be able to kill a sage of the Middle Ages. After all, the sage of the Middle Ages was too fast. He could travel hundreds of light years in a breath when he used the space realm. Moreover, the vitality of the sage of the Middle Ages was extremely tenacious. Even if he was poisoned by the whirling poison, he could still hold on for a long time. Only the reincarnation brush, a supreme artifact that traced back the karma and reversed the reincarnation, could easily kill a sage of the Middle Ages. However, this strike consumed a lot of Xiaoping's magic power. He couldn't use it all the time. It seems that I have to leave immediately. The death of a sage of the Middle Ages is an earth-shattering event. Perhaps even the old ancestor of the demon clan will be alarmed. Xiaoping waved his hand and stored Zaram's corpse. He threw it to the world tree to refine. He believed that it would soon be refined into a fruit of time. Whoosh! Without saying a word, his figure flickered, leaping through space and time. At the same time, he used the formless mask to conceal his aura, as well as all the information and power on his body. An hour later, Xiaoping landed on a remote island outside the Thunder Continent. This place was quite a distance away from the Thunder Continent. It had verdant hills and limpid waters, and was located in a remote location. Moreover, it was the time of the Great War between the human race and the demon race, so it was believed that no one would discover this place in a short period of time. He immediately entered a certain mountain range on this island and entered a certain cave to enter seclusion. Then he took out the more than 2,900 primordial heavenly dragon talismans he had obtained from the demon Saint Hall. If he took out the 46 primordial heavenly dragon talismans he would immediately be able to form 3,000 primordial heavenly dragon talismans, reproducing the glory of the primordial era. This wasn't as simple as a few times increase in strength. It was hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of times. The might of a complete primordial heavenly dragon talisman far exceeded the imagination of most sages. Furthermore, by completely refining these primordial sky dragon talismans, he would be able to remove the mental imprint that the demonic sages had left on the primordial sky dragon talismans. This way, the demonic sages would no longer be able to use these mental imprints to find him. Let's begin. Xiaoping sat cross-legged on the ground and immediately began refining the 3,000 primordial heavenly dragon talismans. At this moment in the sky above Jianghu city, the many demonic sages who were fighting with the human sages immediately sensed Zaram's abnormality. All of their expressions changed drastically. What's going on? Why did the mental connection with Zaram break off? Where's his aura? Why did it suddenly disappear without a trace? It's no longer on the Thunderbolt continent? One of the demonic sages had an extremely ugly expression. He had a bad feeling, as though something unsettling was about to happen. It was as though Zaram was in trouble. Could he be dead? Upon hearing these words, the other demon saint of the Middle Ages voiced out his conjecture. Only death could explain the sudden interruption of the aura and the sudden disappearance of the aura. That's impossible. Zaram is a demonic sage of the Middle Ages. He has comprehended the law of time. He was only chasing after a puny immortal sage. How could he die? Who could kill him? A demonic sage of the Middle Ages exclaimed in disbelief. That's right. Don't say such baseless things. Don't shake our morale here. City Lord Patrick shouted angrily. He was very dissatisfied. Who knew how great a blow it would be to their morale by spreading rumors here? He felt that this was only a guess and should not be spouting nonsense here. The problem is that Wu Wuti is an immortal sage. Doesn't he have any helpers? If Zaram was flustered and exasperated during his escape, he might have fallen into that human bitch's trap and died. Deputy City Lord Randolph raised a different opinion. He still felt that Zaram was in trouble. Otherwise, Zaram's aura wouldn't have disappeared for no reason. It can't be. That bastard actually dared to kill a demonic sage of the demon race. Is he tired of living? If he didn't have such guts, why would he dare to come to Jianghu City's demonic sage temple and steal our primordial heavenly dragon talismans? Damn it. How audacious. That Wu Wuti deserves to die 1,000 times over. He snatched over 2,000 primordial heavenly dragon talismans that we worked so hard to obtain. Now he killed a demonic sage of the Middle Ages. This enmity is irreconcilable. We must kill that bastard and tear him into pieces. That bastard is too despicable. He came to Heimu City to kill and rob. What does he think our Heimu City is? Find him. We must find him. We can't let that Wu Wuti off. The demonic sages of the Middle Ages roared angrily. Even after fighting with the humans for such a long time and being at a disadvantage, none of the demonic sages of the Middle Ages had died due to their strong vitality. At most they were heavily injured. Now, in order to hunt down Wu Wuti, the demon race had lost a primordial demon sage. What kind of humiliation was this? What kind of loss was this? How infuriating was this? If Wu Wuti appeared in front of them, they could not wait to tear him into pieces and exterminate his entire clan. Not only had they lost precious treasures, but they had also lost a large number of demon race elites. Such hatred was higher than the mountains and deeper than the oceans. They could not imagine how furious they were at that moment. Chapter 2394. At this moment, the human sages also saw the expressions of the beast sages and heard their words. Haha, as expected, the person who stole the primordial heavenly dragon talisman escaped. A medieval sage laughed heartily. Not only did he escape, it seems like the medieval sage Zaram who went after him was also killed by that person. That's why the beast sages are so furious. Rain Sage touched his chin. No way even a medieval sage was killed? What kind of joke is this? Are medieval sages that easy to kill? What's that kid's background? Is he not just an immortal sage? Who knows? There are many secret techniques in this universe that can kill medieval sages. It's just that the price is not high enough. Besides, how could he do such a thing without some means? Indeed. On the surface he looks like he's alone. Who knows what kind of big shot is behind him? Anyway, this matter has nothing to do with us. The more beast sages die, the better. Now that another medieval sage beast has died, it seems like Heimu City can no longer compete with our Thunder City. We should chase after them and kill a few more beast sages. Then Heimu City will no longer be a threat. The medieval sages laughed heartily. Intense killing intent radiated from their bodies. They wanted to chase after the beast sages and expand their victory. Boomed, however, at this moment, a voice was transmitted to the depths of the consciousness of every medieval sage. It sounded like the voice of the great Tao. Come back. This matter ends here. What? The human sages were shocked when they heard this. The person who spoke was the Longevity Ancestor, a famous human ancestor who had reached the invincible realm. What? Ancestor, we already have victory in our hands. We are just one step away from exterminating these beast sages and driving them out of the Thunder Continent. Purple Thunder Sage asked in confusion. The beast ancestor already knows about this. They are willing to pay a certain price to end this matter. Don't continue. Otherwise, the beast ancestor will definitely take action. They will not sit idly by. The Longevity Ancestor's voice came from the depths of the void. Upon hearing this, many of the sages from the Middle Ages felt helpless. That was indeed the case. After all, this was a war between the races. If the demon race was truly enraged, it would not be surprising for the sages of the great ancestor level to personally intervene. In fact, if it were not for the fact that the demon race was afraid of the sages of the human race, they would have personally taken action and killed them on the spot. They would not have allowed them to continue behaving atrociously in this place. Even so, the casualties of the demon race sages were too high, which was not what the patriarchs wanted to see. Many demon sages had died, and even a medieval demon sage had already touched their bottom line. If they really shed all pretense of cordiality here, it would probably immediately trigger a war between the human clan and the demon clan. For the time being, they did not want the war to escalate. It was better to quit while they were ahead. All right, let's retreat. We've gotten quite a lot of benefits this time anyway. The Purple Thunder Sage nodded his head. He also knew when to advance and when to retreat. If this continued, the old ancestors of the demon race would no longer care about their pride and make a move. There was no need to continue provoking them. In any case, after this incident, these demon race sages would not dare to attack the human race for billions of years. This war was enough to teach them a painful lesson. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. At the thought of this, the Purple Thunder Sage immediately issued an order for the many sages on the battlefield to immediately stop and retreat. In a few breaths' time, all the human race sages had retreated from Heimu City, leaving behind a city that was close to ruins. Countless corpses of the demon race lay on the ground. Blood flowed like a river and there were potholes and broken walls everywhere. What's going on? Why did the human race sages suddenly retreat? The immortal demon sage who originally thought that it was doomed, was dumbfounded. It did not know why the human race sages who had the upper hand, suddenly gave up and rapidly retreated like a receding tide. It looked at the rapidly retreating human race sages in a daze. It did not plan to chase after them because it no longer had the strength to do so. The patriarchs have made a move. A demon sage said in a deep voice, "Our demon race patriarchs will definitely not sit and watch Heimu City be destroyed by the human race. They must have reached some kind of agreement with the human race, which is why they retreated." It had experienced countless racial wars and was naturally very experienced in such matters. Unless it was absolutely necessary, the two major races would have their own bottom line. They would not easily fall out and exterminate the other party. Sigh, our demon race has suffered heavy losses this time. I wonder how many demon sages have died. Even Heimu City has been destroyed. A demon sage revealed a bitter expression. Although they had barely managed to repel the human race sages, more than half of the huge Heimu City had been destroyed. It was as though the place had been reduced to ruins. Furthermore, that bunch of shameless humans had taken the opportunity to plunder Heimu City's treasures. The treasures that were originally placed in shops, private residences, and treasure vaults had now been plundered clean by that bunch of human scum. All the treasures that they had accumulated over the years had been snatched away. Just such a loss was enough to make them feel heart-wrenching pain, as though their flesh was being sliced off. Who is it? Which bastard is so despicable as to leak the news that we have the primordial heavenly dragon talismans? Don't let me find him. Otherwise I'll definitely cut him into 8 pieces and dismember him into 10,000 pieces. Looking at the devastated Heimu City, a demon sage from the Middle Ages felt heart-wrenching pain. He gritted his teeth and was filled with grief and indignation. If the news of the primordial heavenly dragon talismans had not been leaked and exposed the demon race's plans, the human race would not have attacked Heimu City. Everything was done by the traitor who had leaked the demon race's internal information. Many of the ancient demon sages looked at each other in dismay. All of them felt that they were suspicious of each other, and none of them knew who the real traitor was. According to the Thunder City Lord, Purple Thunder Sage, their Heimu City had long been infiltrated like a sieve. It was possible that everyone present was a human traitor. At the thought of this, they felt a chill in their hearts. No matter which traitor did it, this matter is definitely related to that human sage Wu Wuti. The source of everything is that bastard. City Lord Patrick immediately pointed the spearhead at Wu Wuti. That bitch snatched our primordial heavenly dragon talisman and killed Zaram. This is an irreconcilable hatred. We have to find him and destroy his soul. He hated Xiaoping to the core. If not for that bastard's appearance, the demon race's plan of many years would have succeeded. They would not have ended up in such a state. That's right. Capture that Wu Wuti and kill him. Immediately issue the demon race's arrest warrant. Put that Wu Wuti on the wanted list. He stole our demon race's supreme treasure. This is an irreconcilable hatred. The demon sages were filled with hatred. They could not wait to capture Wu Wuti and swallow him alive. Chapter 2395. The news of the humans leading an army to destroy Heimu City, killing a number of demon sages, and snatching away the primordial heavenly dragon talismans could not be kept a secret. The news quickly spread throughout the Thunder Continent and even the Mystic Zones. That was because such a war was too rare. Such a large-scale war might not even happen once in a billion years, but it had happened today. Furthermore, the demons had suffered a crushing defeat, causing all the races in the universe to discuss it. What? The humans led an army to launch a surprise attack on Heimu City in the Thunder Sea region, resulting in the destruction of the entire demon city and the death of countless demon sages? Some sages were astonished when they heard the news. That's right. Why would the humans suddenly attack the demons? What's the reason behind it? Indeed, wars do not break out for no reason. Many sages also felt that the outbreak of the war was too strange. There were no signs at all. There is indeed a reason. The demons spent countless years collecting the primordial heavenly dragon talismans from all over the universe. They actually managed to collect more than 2,900 talismans and secretly devoured the source of the Thunder Continent. It is said that they even planned to use the primordial heavenly dragon talismans to tear apart Thunder City and kill most of the human sages in the city before completely occupying the entire Thunder Continent. However, they did not expect that their plan would somehow be discovered by the humans. This enraged the humans and they led an army to attack Heimu City. Some of the foreign race sages knew some insider information. Those demon sages are really useless. They were clearly defending the city, but it was still breached by the humans. What a bunch of trash. Even at the very least, they could hold on for a while and buy time for reinforcements to arrive. We can't blame the demon sages. Those humans are really despicable and shameless. They actually took a peerless sacred artifact, the Immortal Monument, and instantly tore apart the defenses of Jianghu city, allowing the human sages to march straight in. Even so, how could such secretive news be discovered by the humans? If the demons are good at keeping secrets, then even after this matter is over, the humans won't know anything. That's where the problem lies. It is said that the demons have been infiltrated by the humans. They have developed many spies, causing all sorts of information to leak out. That's why they caused such a huge disaster. That's right. The upper echelons of the demon clan are furious. They've massacred a group of spies. They're investigating who the spies are. Now the entire demon clan is in a state of panic. They're afraid that they'll be taken as spies and locked up in the demon clan's prison. Fuck, the human race has become so terrifying now. They can even infiltrate the demon race like a sieve. It's better to be careful. The human race is despicable and shameless. I'm guessing that they have planted spies in all the major races. Maybe there are human spies in both our races. Many sages felt the same way. The more they knew about the inside story, the more they feared the human race. The fiend race, which had such tight defenses and a strict hierarchy, had actually been easily infiltrated by the human race. Spies had been casually planted in the fiend race, and all sorts of secrets had been discovered everywhere. Then what about the other weaker races? Wouldn't they all become public toilets for humans to use whenever they wanted? They couldn't help but feel fearful of the human race, which was becoming more and more powerful. But this time, the humans have broken through Jianghu city and plundered a large amount of wealth. I'm afraid that they've obtained a lot of benefits this time. A sage said with envy. The human clan has indeed gained many benefits, but the one who has gained the most is someone called Wuxia. What do you mean by that? To tell you the truth, I was also shocked when I heard about this. That Wuxia is only an immortal sage, but he was so daring. He took advantage of the war between the human clan and the fiend race to sneak into Jianghu city's demon saint hall and instantly steal all the primordial heavenly dragon talismans that the fiend race had painstakingly collected for God knows how many years. Even the medieval demon saint, Zarum, came to hunt him down in an attempt to kill him. Who would have thought that he would die in the hands of Wuxia, which infuriated the fiend race? Do you think that Wuxia has gained the most benefits? A sage immediately revealed a huge piece of news. He actually stole more than 2,900 primordial heavenly dragon talismans. These can be considered the most precious treasures in Jianghu city. If he could obtain the remaining dozens of primordial heavenly dragon talismans, he would immediately obtain a peerless sage artifact. That's a peerless sage artifact, a race's dharma treasure. Even ancient sages might not have one. Obtaining such a dharma treasure would naturally be the greatest benefit. A foreign race sage exclaimed. Who is this Wuxia? Is he a genius immortal sage of the human race? He's indeed from the human race, but he's not someone from the human race's sacred temple. He's a famous wanted criminal. It's said that he's from the Eastern Cosmos, and after he became famous, he went around committing crimes. From the Eastern Cosmos to the Western Cosmos, from the Southern Cosmos to the Northern Cosmos, and then into the Ordinary Zone. Now he's come to the Mystic Zone. Who knows how many people he's killed and how many heinous crimes he's committed. Fuck, he's actually a wanted criminal of the universe. He has no background and no powerful being to back him up, but he's so daring that he even dares to touch the fiend race's treasures. He must be tired of living. Furthermore, he did it when the fiend race and the human race were at war. I don't even know how long he's been holding up. If he doesn't dare to move, then he wouldn't be Wuxia. It's said that his greatest strength isn't his combat strength, but his concealment skills. Once he hides, even if the medieval sages reverse time and look back to ancient times, they wouldn't be able to find his traces. Some people guess that he must have cultivated a supreme concealment technique that could hide him from time. Or maybe he has a powerful magic treasure that can distort time. It's said that this matter also angered the fiend race's patriarch. The invincible demon saint personally tried to find traces of this kid in the ancient river of time, but it was all in vain. It seemed to be covered by some mysterious power and fell into layers of fog. If that's the case, it's no wonder that Wuxia is so arrogant. Even the invincible demon saint couldn't find any traces of him. Doesn't that mean that he can roam the entire universe freely? In short, we must keep an eye on this Wu Wuti. This guy is a habitual criminal. He goes around committing crimes without a fixed target. Who knows, he might take a fancy to our race's treasures and attack us. No way is this kid that fierce? He dares to attack anyone? What a joke. Don't think that he's a human. If he gets angry, he might even dare to steal from the human race's sacred palace. It's said that the human race is very wary of this kid. To be honest, he has personally killed many human almighties. Looks like we have to let the race's juniors know of this Wu Wuti's name. Once we find his whereabouts, we have to be on guard. Otherwise, our family's treasures will be stolen by this bastard. Many of the foreign race's sages discussed among themselves. They were even more afraid of Wu Wuti. This guy was a lawless madman who dared to do anything. He was also very strong. Chapter 2396. In the space of the mountain river Pearl, somewhere in seclusion. Beep beep. At that moment, the system's voice sounded. Congratulations, host. You have infuriated a large number of demonic sages of the demon race, instigating immense hatred. The demon race views you as their greatest enemy. You have obtained a total of 400 hatred crystals. I hope you will continue to work hard. 400 hatred crystals. Upon hearing that, Xiaoping's eyes lit up. He never expected that he would obtain so many hatred crystals from this operation. In addition to the hatred crystals he had obtained previously, he now had 1,580 hatred crystals. That was a huge sum of money. However, on careful thought, it was only natural. He had snatched more than 2,000 primordial heavenly dragon talismans. And it was unknown how much time and effort it took to gather these primordial heavenly dragon talismans. Now that he had snatched them away, years of effort had gone to waste. Years of planning had been destroyed just like that. It was imaginable how much the demonic sages hated him. They wanted nothing more than to get rid of him. They probably even had thoughts of wiping out their entire race. It wasn't surprising that he had obtained so many hatred crystals. However, Xiaoping quickly threw this matter to the back of his mind. The most important thing now was to refine the primordial heavenly dragon talismans on him. If he didn't remove all the mental imprints on the primordial heavenly dragon talismans, he would risk being exposed. Whooshed with a wave of his hand, more than 2,900 primordial heavenly dragon talismans floated in midair. Each talisman was like a primordial heavenly dragon, emitting a domineering aura that caused the void to tremble and distort space. Refine. Xiaoping formed seals with both hands as his domineering spiritual perception invaded the primordial heavenly dragon talismans violently. Looking down from above, he forcefully took the power of the primordial heavenly dragon talismans for himself. As he had already subdued the will of the primordial heavenly dragon talismans with the infernal golden crow bloodline, refining them was a piece of cake and did not require much effort. Boom. A domineering will invaded every primordial heavenly dragon talisman. It was extremely domineering, sweeping through everything, and was extremely exclusive. All the mental imprints engraved in the depths of the primordial heavenly dragon talismans were destroyed easily. In just a few moments, the mental imprints left on the primordial heavenly dragon talismans were completely destroyed. Far away in Heimu City, the primordial demon sages also sensed it. They could not help but spit out a mouthful of blood because the destruction of the spiritual imprint was equivalent to the destruction of a portion of their souls. Damn it, the mental imprint on the primordial skydragon talisman has been completely destroyed. There's nothing left. What's going on? This is a spiritual imprint left behind by our primordial beast saint. It contains the power of time and space, an undying substance. That guy is just an undying, how could he destroy it? Regardless of how that fellow did it, the mental imprint on it has vanished. We are no longer able to find the primordial heavenly dragon talisman through the mental imprint. Damn you, Wu Wuti. Just you wait. Our demon clan will not let this matter rest. The ancient demon sages gritted their teeth and hated Xiaoping even more. However, the most frustrating thing was that they were helpless against this cunning and powerful fellow. Huh. There's even a spiritual imprint inside. Xiaoping raised his brows. After destroying the spiritual imprints left behind by the ancient demon sages, his divine perception permeated every corner of the primordial heavenly dragon talisman. He was shocked to discover that deep within the primordial heavenly dragon talisman, there was still a transparent spiritual imprint. And this spiritual imprint was much stronger than the ones left behind by the ancient demon sages. It was like maggots attached to the bone, deeply engraved in the deepest parts of the primordial heavenly dragon talisman. This transparent imprint seemed to transcend everything, hidden in the depths of time and space, appearing outside the dimension. Ordinary forces could not even touch it, much less destroy it. Moreover, it contained complete laws of the universe stacked layer by layer, like a huge net that covered every corner. It was as if this transparent imprint was a complete small world, unfathomable. Dragon scientist Titania. Xiaoping's eyes lit up. He immediately recalled that the owner of this Dharma treasure was the dragon scientist who had reached the invincible realm. The universe level wanted criminal Titania. Even though this Dharma treasure had once been destroyed by the combined forces of the sages, this peerless sacred artifact was nearly indestructible. Titania had many tricks up her sleeves, so it was not impossible for her to leave a powerful spiritual imprint on her intrinsic Dharma treasure. Due to the existence of this spiritual imprint, even if someone obtained this peerless sacred artifact, they would not be able to escape Titania's control. With a thought, she could retrieve this Dharma treasure. If this spiritual imprint could not be removed, then all that hard work would have gone to someone else. Hellfire Golden Crow Fire. Without another word, he circulated the Hellfire Golden Crow bloodline in the depths of his body. Immediately, wisps of dark golden hellfire seeped into the depths of every primordial heavenly dragon talisman, burning the transparent imprint on them. This? Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. The Hellfire Golden Crow Fire, which had always been successful and could burn anything, met its match when it came into contact with the transparent imprint. It was as if it had encountered a powerful resistance. Layers of nomological powers surged out, forming a nomological barrier. Even though the Golden Crow Hellfire could slowly burn the transparent imprint, because of its ability to burn anything, it was continuously burning and slowly melting the mental imprint. However, this speed was just too slow. It would probably take more than 100 years to completely remove the transparent imprint. It had to be said that it was indeed a spiritual imprint left behind by an invincible saint. Even after countless eras had passed, it was still difficult to remove and deal with. The power it contained was unfathomable and beyond imagination. Looks like I have to use other means. At the thought of this, Xiaoping's heart stirred. He wanted to borrow the power of the system. This was because the power of the system surpassed almost everything. Even the power of an invincible saint would not be able to withstand it. System, I want to completely refine this primordial heavenly dragon talisman. How many hatred crystals do I need? He inquired. This is a spiritual imprint left behind by an invincible saint. It contains the complete nomological powers of the universe. Even heavenly flames will find it difficult to remove it, so it will take a lot of effort to remove it. If the host wants to completely refine it, he will need 100 hatred crystals. The system answered. 100 hatred crystals. Xiaoping sighed inwardly. It was indeed a supreme system. It could even remove the spiritual imprint left behind by an invincible saint. It seemed like there was nothing it couldn't do. Although 100 hatred crystals was not a small amount, it was still worth it compared to the value of a peerless saint artifact. Moreover, he had just obtained 400 hatred crystals. A mere 100 hatred crystals was nothing. Refine it then. Xiaoping did not hesitate. Yes, host. As you wish. The system said. A powerful, ancient, and unfathomable power instantly enveloped the 3,000 primordial heavenly dragon talismans. Immediately, the transparent imprints melted like snow and disappeared rapidly. They couldn't resist for even a second. Chapter 2397. Somewhere in the universe's dimensional space. A mysterious laboratory. This was one of the dragon scientist Titania's secret lair. Suddenly, Titania's heart stirred. She sensed that something extremely close to her was rapidly leaving her, and she instantly severed the spiritual connection. She felt as though she had lost this treasure forever. What? The spiritual imprint I left in the primordial heavenly dragon talisman has been removed? Impossible. Who did it? Even an invincible saint wouldn't be able to do something like that. Titania's beautiful eyes lit up. To be honest, she was indeed a little shocked. This was because her intrinsic Dharma treasure, the primordial heavenly dragon talisman, had left behind her powerful spiritual imprint. Even an invincible saint wouldn't be able to remove such a spiritual imprint. It was precisely because they knew this that those invincible saints had no interest in the primordial heavenly dragon talisman. They only scattered the 3,000 talismans in every corner of the universe. After all, there was no point in keeping this peerless sacred artifact that she couldn't control by her side. Instead, it would expose her every move to Titania. However, the spiritual imprint that even an invincible saint couldn't remove had been removed by someone today. Furthermore, it had been forcefully severed from her spiritual connection with the primordial heavenly dragon talisman. Such power was simply unimaginable. It was like a god. Interesting. Titania stroked her smooth chin. Although this primordial heavenly dragon talisman is just a Dharma treasure I casually created, it took me a lot of effort. In order to prevent others from snatching it away, I even left a heavenly dragon imprint on it. Apart from me, no one can completely control it. I didn't expect that there would be someone who could surpass my spiritual imprint and completely eradicate the spiritual imprint inside. This is very interesting. How did he do it? She didn't care much about the primordial heavenly dragon talisman that she had lost. With enough materials and time, she could reforge such a Dharma treasure, and it would be even more powerful than before. Now, she was only extremely curious about how she had lost this Dharma treasure. This required spiritual power that surpassed her to be able to do such a thing. But in the entire universe, there weren't many existences who could surpass her in spiritual power. She wasn't bragging, but there weren't many who could do so. And such existences wouldn't be interested in the primordial heavenly dragon talisman. Dong. Thinking of this, Titania stretched out her hand and tapped lightly. Ripples appeared in the depths of the void, as if a powerful neural network had appeared, spreading to all parts of the universe, connecting countless information. After a long time, she opened her eyes. So that's how it is. The person who stole my 3,000 primordial heavenly dragon talismans was actually that human Wu Wudi. This must be fate. I'm getting more and more interested in this little guy. Titania giggled, her starry eyes filled with interest. She felt that her dying star was about to come back to life, and it was burning hot again. In this universe, there weren't many things and people that could interest her. Without a doubt, Wu Wudi was one of them. Looks like I have to hurry up and find this little guy. I really want to capture him and dissect him to see what kind of structure he has inside. Titania stretched, revealing her perfect and curvaceous figure. She gave off a mature aura, and her beautiful eyes were filled with passion and madness. Within the pearl of mountains and rivers a few days later. I finally succeeded. I have refined 3,000 primordial heavenly dragon talismans. Xia Ping took a deep breath. Although he looked exhausted, he couldn't hide the excitement deep in his eyes. With the help of the system, he had finally cleared the spiritual imprint deep within the primordial heavenly dragon talismans. He could completely control the 3,000 primordial heavenly dragon talismans and didn't need to worry about being plotted against by others. Therefore, he infused his spiritual imprint into the 3,000 primordial heavenly dragon talismans and completely refined them, making himself the true owner of the primordial heavenly dragon talismans. Boom. In an instant, the 3,000 primordial heavenly dragon talismans fused together. The talismans stacked on top of each other, finally forming a dragon pearl about the size of a fist. And this dragon pearl was unfathomable, as though it contained the power of 3,000 laws. Countless laws intertwined with each other, forming a complete world within the dragon pearl. This is the peerless sage artifact, the primordial heavenly dragon talisman. Xia Ping could sense the power of this dragon pearl. It seemed to emit the aura of the primordial chaos, ancestral dragon, origins, and so on. At the same time, it also contained the power of countless laws. But there seemed to be a golden vortex in its depths that constantly spun. It produced a powerful devouring force that constantly devoured the surrounding void's origins to strengthen itself. And deep within the dragon pearl was a strange chaos world of the light continent. The 3,000 nomological forces intertwined with each other and fused with each other, forming a complete entity. There was even a terrifying primordial heavenly dragon slumbering in the chaos world. Its body was extremely massive, as though it could span dozens of star domains. It was so huge that it seemed boundless. Once this primordial heavenly dragon awoke from the dragon race, it would immediately erupt with the power to tear apart the void and destroy the primordial chaos. What's this? Just as Xia Ping was about to carefully study the peerless sage artifact, the primordial heavenly dragon talisman, an extremely massive energy suddenly surged out from the depths of the dragon pearl. It seemed to be the origins energy from the Thunder Continent. Originally, the primordial Fey sages had used the primordial heavenly dragon talismans to devour the origins of the Thunder Continent and store all of it in these primordial heavenly dragon talismans. Now it erupted all at once, surging to every corner of his body like a tidal wave. In an instant, he felt the dermic powers in his body skyrocketing, and constantly skyrocketing. Originally, Every spatial cell in his body was incomparably empty and in a state of emptiness. It would take months and billions of years for them to be filled up. This required painstaking effort. However, after obtaining the massive Thunder Continent's Origin's energy, it immediately saved him tens of millions of years of cultivating dermic powers, causing his dermic powers to skyrocket. In just a few breaths' time, the dermic powers in his body had risen to the limit. It was as though he had touched the bottleneck of the near-ancient sage early stage at this moment. I'm about to break through. Xia Ping's eyes lit up. He felt that he had suddenly obtained such a massive Origin's energy. It was equivalent to consuming a large number of rare elixirs that were frantically helping him increase his dermic powers, saving him a lot of effort in condensing dermic powers. All of this seemed to happen naturally without any hindrance. He sensed that he was about to break through to the near-ancient sage early stage, and this realm was just within his reach. He could easily cross it with just one step. Chapter 2398. After an unknown period of time, Xia Ping's body shook. It was as if countless golden crows of hell were crying out in his body, forming a resonance with the laws of space. The void within a radius of hundreds of light years was constantly shaking, and ripples could be seen with the naked eye. Dong. At this moment, as if the conditions were right, the huge energy came crashing over with unstoppable force. The bottleneck in his body had been broken, and it was as if the sea and the sky were wide open. Whoosh! In an instant, the Thunder Mainland's Origin energy from the depths of the ancient heavenly dragon talisman surged into the 9 purple mansions like a tide. And the 9 purple mansions were like dew after a long drought, greedily devouring the Origin energy. It was as if water had moisturized the dry land, and it made one's heart sink. I've leveled up. Xia Ping sensed that he had finally stepped into a new sage realm. Middle stage near ancient realm. After spending some time, he had stepped into a new sage realm effortlessly. At this moment, his sea of consciousness expanded and expanded continuously, as if Pangu was splitting heaven and earth apart. The chaotic region in the depths of his sea of consciousness was constantly being opened up. His spiritual sense had also improved by leaps and bounds. 400 light years, 450 light years, 500 light years, and when it finally stopped, his spiritual sense had expanded to a range of 700 light years. This is a new space domain. My speed has become even faster. Xia Ping sensed that he could cover a radius of 700 light years with his divine sense in an instant. His space domain had also become much more powerful than before. It was simply indescribable. It was as if he could teleport 700 light years with just a thought. This speed was much faster than before. Even the speed of the Middle Ages sages, under the premise of using the space domain, would not be comparable to his. He might be able to cross a small star field in an instant. It's not as simple as my speed becoming faster. The space domain has also become stronger and more indestructible. Xia Ping displayed his space domain. Buzz, in the blink of an eye, with his body as the center, a huge spherical space domain enveloped an area of 700 light years. Densely packed space law patterns covered the entire spherical space domain, like the patterns on an ancient turtle shell. It also seemed like a spatial barrier, containing an unfathomable power of space. It was precisely because of these space laws that his space domain became even more indestructible. It was as if the space domain on his body had formed a space enchantment. It was almost condensed into a space barrier. Even medieval saints who had reached the Middle Ancient realm and comprehended the time law would need to expend a tremendous amount of energy to shake such a space domain. If a near-ancient saint of the same level were to fall into this domain, they would immediately be suppressed as if they were sealed. With such a powerful space domain, even if he did not have any defensive sacred artifacts, it would not be a problem. In other words, his divine ability was equivalent to a powerful sage artifact. My magic power has greatly increased as well. Xia Ping clenched his fists and felt that his body was filled with extremely abundant power. Every inch of his muscles was filled with the explosive power of a star. A breath could cause a spatial storm and a punch or kick could shatter the vacuum. Thanks to the growth of the power of his divine sense, his understanding of the space law had become even deeper. It was as if his soul had completely integrated into every part of the void, seeping into the origin of the universe. Countless space law fragments and information from the void of the universe were like a tide, fusing into his limbs and bones, causing his entire body to become more spatialized. Every cell in his body had become an independent space. Because of this, every cell in his body seemed to have turned into a black hole. With just a slight breath, They could devour the cosmic energy within a radius of hundreds of light-years. The area within a radius of 700 light-years would become a vacuum, an absolute forbidden area. It seems that I'm not far from the great perfection realm. He silently comprehended the space law patterns. These space law fragments all gathered in the depths of his sea of consciousness, as if forming a sickle-shaped crescent moon. If these space law fragments were completely perfected and turned into a complete full moon, it would be the moment when he advanced to the peak of the near-ancient realm. At that time he would be able to comprehend the time law and step into the middle ancient realm. My bloodline is also stronger than before. Xiaoping's eyes shone brightly. Reaching the mid-stage near ancient realm had not only boosted his magic power and the power of his divine sense, but his infernal golden crow bloodline had also improved. Originally he had awakened 36 billion golden crow of hell cells, but after advancing to the near ancient realm, he had awakened 50 billion golden crow of hell cells. This was a lot stronger than before. He felt that the golden crow of hell bloodline in the depths of his body had become stronger. It was as if countless golden crow of hell divine abilities and the power of laws were surging out from the depths of these cells. This also made the bloodline in his body even more incredible. It was as if with just a thought, this bloodline that came from a divine beast could corrode the space in reality. If it was not for him forcefully suppressing the corrosive power of the golden crow of hell bloodline, he was afraid that wherever he descended, the low-level creatures there would immediately be forcibly transformed into the golden crow of hell's kin. Right now he was so strong that it made people's hair stand on end. Even if a drop of the golden crow of hell's blood fell on a planet, it would transform the planet into a land of magma. At every moment, it would erupt with flames and burn the void. Over time, this planet might turn into an eternal sun, shining brightly and illuminating every corner of the dark vacuum, dispelling the darkness. I didn't expect to receive such benefits after completely refining the ancient heavenly dragon talisman. Xiaoping was overjoyed. Those demon sages used the ancient heavenly dragon talisman to devour the Thunder Mainland's origin energy for billions of years. They probably didn't expect that all the energy would belong to him. Thanks to this extremely pure origin energy, his cultivation base instantly rose to the near-ancient mid-stage. It even filled up his entire body with magic power. This saved him many years of effort in condensing magic power. This was no less than a fortuitous encounter. If those demon sages were to find out that the energy they worked so hard to obtain had all gone to Xiaoping, benefiting someone else, they would probably vomit blood on the spot. But no matter what, these 3,000 ancient heavenly dragon talismans were all in his hands. He had also completely refined them and engraved his spiritual imprint deep within them. Therefore, even his former master, Titania, would not be able to snatch these 3,000 ancient heavenly dragon talismans from him, let alone the demon sages of Heim City. Chapter 2399. Is this the complete primordial Skydragon talisman? Xiaoping grabbed with his hand and immediately took out the primordial Skydragon talisman. At that moment, the 3,000 primordial Skydragon talismans had already fused into one, forming a spherical shape. The laws of the 3,000 universes gathered together in an endless cycle. The 5 elements fused as one, yin and yang fused together. Ordinary forces were unable to disperse it. The entire sphere emitted an ancient, chaotic and powerful aura. And the sphere itself seemed to be a complete, gigantic world. It possessed complete laws of the world. Perhaps even the space-time domain of the medieval sages was unable to distort the space-time of this world. More importantly, deep within the sphere were 3,000 primordial sky dragons. It was as though he could summon the 3,000 primordial sky dragons to destroy the world with a mere thought. Heavens, is this the legendary peerless sacred artifact? It's really beautiful. At that moment, the item spirit Azurox ran out. It looked at the primordial sky dragon talisman with an infatuated look. To Dharma treasures like them, a peerless sacred artifact was the pinnacle of existence. It was equivalent to an idol that they would never have the chance to see under normal circumstances. Indeed, the nomological powers it contains are too perfect. It has already condensed into a single entity without any flaws. It's as though it's a world by itself. This is an existence that stands at the pinnacle of countless Dharma treasures. Corinne flew out as well with a look of excitement. He had the urge to pounce forward and touch it. After all, it was a legendary existence. Even his master back then did not have the right to touch it. In fact, he did not even have the right to see it, much less touch it. Master. At that moment, a weak voice sounded from the depths of the sphere. Following that, a palm-sized primordial sky dragon phantom floated out of the sphere. Without a doubt, it was the primordial sky dragon talisman's item spirit. You are the item spirit of the primordial sky dragon talisman? From the looks of it, you seem injured? Xiaoping inquired. He was not worried that the item spirit would betray him. This was because the Dharma treasure had been completely refined by him. Even if it had sentience, it could not escape his control. He immediately sensed that the item spirit seemed to be in a weakened and injured state. Yes, I am the item spirit of the primordial sky dragon talisman. The primordial sky dragon phantom nodded. Just as Master said, I've suffered serious injuries. It seems that during the primordial war, I was torn apart by the combined forces of many sages and scattered across the universe. Even though the 3,000 primordial heavenly dragon talismans have been gathered once again due to Master, allowing me to regain my original strength, my injuries still haven't healed. This has left me in an unprecedented state of weakness. Firstly, most of my memories have vanished. I don't remember what happened back then at all. In other words, you lost your memory? Xiaoping raised his eyebrows. It's not as simple as losing my memories. My primordial sky dragon's origins has dissipated and I'm extremely weak. I need to devour large amounts of the dragon race's origins to recover to my peak state. The primordial sky dragon said in a deep voice, that's why I appeared. I hope Master can find a way for me to devour large amounts of the dragon race's origins to rapidly recover from my injuries. It indicated that it was very weak and incomparable to the primordial sky dragon talisman at its peak. It was even a distance away from the other true peerless sacred artifacts. But even so, as one of the strongest peerless sacred artifacts, the primordial sky dragon talisman was still bigger than a horse. It was not something ordinary peerless sacred artifacts could compare with. Firstly, it still possessed two abilities. The first was to conjure a projection of the primordial dragon world. As long as it devoured sufficient origins, it could conjure a projection of the primordial dragon world. Such might could instantly destroy a world. Previously, the sage demon of Heimu City had wanted to use this ability to conjure a projection of the primordial dragon world to instantly destroy all the restrictive array formations and defensive systems of Thunder City. Such might was extremely terrifying. It was as though the primordial dragon world had appeared in the world. Even the space-time domain of the sages of the Middle Ages could not shake the power of the primordial dragon world. The second ability was to summon an army of primordial sky dragons. Each of the 3,000 primordial sky dragon talismans could transform into a terrifying existence like a primordial sky dragon. Back at its peak, it could summon an army of 3,000 primordial sky dragons. Each primordial sky dragon represented the pinnacle of the nomological powers of the universe. Each of them had the power to destroy a world. The simultaneous appearance of 3,000 primordial sky dragons could destroy everything and wipe out a race. However, to conjure such power, the primordial sky dragon talisman needed to devour the origins of a world. Previously, Titania had gone overboard by destroying many worlds and devouring their origins. She had shaken the foundations of the universe's origins and committed a grave mistake. That was why she became the public enemy of the universe and was attacked by many invincible sages. That is to say, to recover from your injuries, you need to head to the dragon realm and devour its origins. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. That's right, Master. That's exactly what I meant. The primordial sky dragon phantom nodded. The problem is that I don't know where the dragon realm is? Xiaoping said. In fact, he wasn't the only one who didn't know. Even the humans, demons, and other races didn't know where the dragon realm was. It was said that the dragon realm was a moving world. The location it appeared in every time was uncertain and random. Even if invincible sages expended effort to infer where the dragon realm would appear, it would change again the next time. Therefore, over time, sages stopped doing such an arduous and unrewarding task. After all, there were just too many experts in the dragon realm. There was no need, nor were sages willing to offend the dragons. It's all right. I can sense where the dragon realm will appear. The primordial sky dragon phantom said in a deep voice. In fact, this is a power that every dragon possesses. It can sense where the dragon realm will appear at any time. Furthermore, with the primordial sky dragon talisman's power, one can enter the dragon realm silently without being discovered by the powerful old antiques in the depths of the dragon realm. Interesting. If that's the case, I can go take a look. Upon hearing that, Xiaoping could not help but stroke his chin, feeling intrigued. That was because the dragon realm was just too mysterious. It could be said to be one of the most mysterious worlds in the entire universe. Even the patriarchs of the human race didn't know much about it. Every item that came out of the dragon realm was priceless, attracting the pursuit of countless sages. In fact, if not for the invasion of the abyssal fiendish demons in the primordial era, forcing the dragon race to join forces with the other races, the dragon race would still be a mystery to this day. None of the information would have been leaked. If he had a chance to enter the dragon realm to take a look, he naturally wouldn't miss the opportunity. He might even be able to find large amounts of treasures and benefits in the dragon realm. Chapter 2400. Thunder Continent, Thunder City. Xia Ping had just finished his seclusion and returned to Thunder City. He planned to rest for a few days before heading to the dragon realm. After all, he was quite interested in the mysterious dragon realm. However, he had just defeated the monster race. As the number one hero of the war, he probably had to report to Purple Thunder Sage and the others before he could leave. At this time, Thunder City was in a celebratory mood. There were lanterns and streamers everywhere. This was because the human race had won the war. Not only did they not suffer many losses, but they also plundered a large number of treasures from Jianghu City. Everyone had made a fortune. There might not be such an opportunity in billions of years. This was no less than a fortuitous encounter. Beep beep. At this time, Xia Ping's communication device rang. It's a message from Purple Thunder Sage. Corinne reminded him. Answer it. Xia Ping nodded. With a beep, Purple Thunder Sage's voice was immediately transmitted. Fengdu Sage, where are you now? I just returned to Thunder City. What's the matter? Xia Ping asked. No. After the war ended, we didn't find any trace of you. We thought something happened to you. But since you're fine, that's for the best. By the way, we will have a celebration banquet later. As the number one hero of the war, I wonder if you're interested in coming. Many sages want to meet you. In fact, if Xia Ping had not provided them with information about Jianghu City, they would never have discovered the monster race's plot and won the war. Therefore, it was not too much to say that Xia Ping was the biggest hero. There's no need for that. I'm not in the mood to attend the banquet. Xia Ping was not interested in such a social occasion. If that's the case, then forget it. The Purple Thunder Sage did not insist and said, however, you have to be more careful in the near future. Perhaps the news of you leaking information about the demonic race has already been found out by the demonic race. Right now, that group of demonic beast sages are probably treating you as a thorn in their side, and they can't wait to get rid of you. Stay in Thunder City and don't go out easily. Otherwise, you might be ambushed by the monster race. After all, they really want to know how their information was leaked. He reminded Xia Ping to be careful. After all, Jianghu City had suffered heavy losses this time. Not only had a bunch of immortal demon sages and near primordial demon sages died, but even a primordial demon sage had perished. This was a severe loss. After those demon sages found out about Xia Ping, they would probably want to skin him alive and pull out his tendons. Even though they had kept a tight lid on this information, the demon race's methods were unfathomable. Moreover, there were many mouths, so the demon race was able to find out that Xia Ping had leaked information about Jianghu City. However, staying in Thunder City was still a guarantee of safety. Don't worry, I'll keep an eye out. Hearing these words, Xia Ping nodded. He didn't think much of it. Now that he had more debts than he could bear, and he had already refined 2 clones and a universe treasure like the Death Substitute Talisman, his ability to protect himself had greatly increased. Even if the other party sent an ancient demon saint to kill him, he could easily escape. The most important thing was that he had reached the mid-near ancient stage and his strength had increased greatly. He was much more powerful than before. It was simply a fool's dream for an ordinary demon saint to assassinate him. After saying this, the Purple Thunder Sage hung up the phone. Since he had reminded Xia Ping to be careful, he had done his part. There was no need for him to continue speaking. Whoosh! Xia Ping's figure flashed, and he immediately returned to the front of his villa. Brother Fengdu. At this moment, a 5-meter-tall giant with horns on his head suddenly appeared in front of the villa. He walked over with big strides. Who are you? Xia Ping raised his eyebrows and looked at this giant. The other party was actually a sage who had reached the peak of the near-ancient stage. However, he wasn't from the human race but a vassal race of the human race, the sage of the Longhorn race. Haha, I'm the Golden Horn Sage, but I'm just a nobody. How can I compare to a famous genius like Brother Fengdu? The Golden Horn Sage laughed. It said that Brother Fengdu could kill near ancient stage as an immortal the moment you appeared in the Stormy Sea region. Your battle prowess is world-shaking and rarely seen. Now, you've made a huge contribution and obtained top-secret information about the demon race through a mysterious method. You're the biggest contributor in dealing with Jianghu City this time. Your future can be said to be boundless. Interesting. You've investigated my information? Xia Ping narrowed his eyes and looked at the golden horn sage. Don't be nervous, brother Fengdu. Collecting information is just a small hobby of mine. Moreover, information about an unparalleled genius like brother Fengdu is everywhere. How can I hide it? However, it's a pity that you're going to die today. As soon as he finished speaking, a horrifying killing intent exploded from the golden horn sage's body. Swoosh, 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 in the blink of an eye, 3 figures flew out from the golden horn sage's body. Each of them emitted a towering aura. Demonic aura soared into the sky and shook the void, covering a radius of tens of millions of kilometers. These figures were demon sages who had reached the Middle Ancient stage. Among them, 2 were at the early Middle Ancient stage and 1 was at the intermediate Middle Ancient stage. All of them had mastered the law of time and comprehended the space-time territory. What? Xia Ping's pupils contracted. He didn't sense the aura of the 3 Middle Ancient demon sages at all. Although he could sense the golden horn sage's evil intentions, he didn't notice that the 3 Middle Ancient demon sages were hiding among them. Obviously, the 3 Middle Ancient demon sages were hiding in one of the space treasures on the golden horn sage's body. They were waiting for the critical moment to attack. That was why they could hide from his divine consciousness. However, how did the 3 Middle Ancient demon sages hide from the Thunder City scanning system? How did they sneak into the Thunder City and arrive at his place? Obviously, now was not the time to think about this. He had to face the attack of the 3 Middle Ancient demon sages. Fengdu, go to hell. He. A genius that only appears once in billions of years is going to die in our hands today. I'm so excited. Killing an immortal sage. Such a battle record is indeed rare. You might become another Dark North sage in the future. It's a pity that you're too arrogant. How dare you help the humans to destroy our Jianghu city and cause great losses to the demon sages? This is a crime punishable by death. We definitely won't forgive you. Fengdu, today is the day you die. Your journey will end today. Rest in peace and go on your way. The 3 Middle Ancient demon sages attacked at the same time. Their demonic chi soared into the sky. The 3 space-time territories on their bodies shrouded down at the same time. In an instant, the space-time within a radius of tens of millions of kilometers froze. It was as if everything had come to a standstill. Everything in the space-time territory was unable to move. They looked at Xia Ping as if they were looking at a dead man. The power of the territory that could freeze space-time was not something a puny immortal sage could resist. Killing immortals in the Middle Ancient stage was as easy as killing a chicken. Chapter 2401. Thunder City City Lord Mansion. City Lord Purple Thunder Sage, Deputy City Lord Rain Sage, and other important figures appeared here. At this moment, the City Lord Mansion was hosting a banquet. The hall was filled with a dazzling array of food. Many beautiful maids shuttled through the hall, continuously serving food. How is it? Did you inform Fengdu? Is he not willing to come? A sage asked. No way, I informed him just now, but he doesn't seem to like to appear in such places, so he rejected me. City Lord Purple Thunder Sage shrugged helplessly. Brother Purple Thunder, could it be that he doesn't even give you face? A sage teased. No, please don't say that. I'm not some important figure, so why would I care about face? Some people just don't like to socialize and are eccentric. This isn't about face or not. Purple Thunder Sage waved his hands. Haha, Brother Purple Thunder is truly magnanimous. No wonder the upper echelons value you so much, becoming the Thunder City Lord. However, it's a pity that Fengdu didn't come. I originally wanted to ask him where he got his information from. Will he answer just because I asked? This is his secret channel. How can it be so easy to ask? This is information that even our human race's intelligence system can't find. If he doesn't answer, then so be it. It's just that he is so well informed. Who knows, we might have a chance to work together in the future. He might know some information about secret treasures. One more friend is one more path. That's true. However, if he doesn't come, there's nothing we can do. Perhaps we have to find another way to befriend him. Many sages discussed. They were also very interested in this number 1 hero of the war and wanted to befriend him. However, since he refused to come, there was nothing they could do. Rumble, however, at the moment when the 3 demon sages of the Middle Ages chose to attack Xia Ping, a terrifying space-time force immediately erupted in a corner of the Thunder City. It distorted the space-time and caused the entire Thunder City to shake violently. It seemed that even the restrictive formation here was trembling. The energy waves from the ancient demonic sages couldn't be hidden at all. In an instant, all the sages at the banquet felt this intense energy wave. Damn it! 3 ancient demonic sages have infiltrated our Thunder City. The city lord, Purple Thunder Saint, had an extremely unsightly expression on his face. The demonic saint had brazenly invaded the Thunder City and even caused such a terrifying battle. This was the first time since the establishment of the Thunder City. This was simply a slap to his face. If demon saints could invade Thunder City at will, then how could Thunder City be safe? This would make him the laughingstock of many city lords. If it was serious, they might even be punished by the higher-ups. What's going on? Were the 3 primordial demon sages crazy? They actually have the guts to invade Thunder City. Are they not afraid of death? Some of the saints from the Middle Ages were shocked. In fact, the universe was boundlessly vast and contained endless methods. If one paid a certain price, then sneaking into Thunder City wasn't something impossible. The problem was that if they were to make a move in the territory of the human race, then it would be a completely different matter, and it would be impossible to conceal it. Unless these demon saints didn't want to leave Thunder City alive, otherwise how would they dare to commit suicide? Oh no, the direction of the space-time fluctuation seems to be the residence of Sage Fengdu. They have made a move on Sage Fengdu. Ein Listener Saint's expression changed as he immediately sensed something. Damn it! How dare they attack and assassinate the sages of the human clan in the territory of the human clan? They're courting death. Activate the restrictive formation of the Thunder City immediately and kill all 3 of these ancient demon sages. Purple Thunder Saint flew into a rage. If the 3 primordial demon sages had merely invaded Thunder City, then it would be fine. However, they actually came to Thunder City to assassinate a human race sage. Furthermore, the sage was the greatest contributor of this war. If they succeeded, it would be a slap to the face of the human race. They would become the laughingstock of the human race and even cast a shadow over their glorious victory. Because if they couldn't even protect the lives of the greatest contributor of this war, who would still believe in the strength of the human race? Quick, inform the old ancestor. The Rain Listener Saint frantically sent emails to the human race patriarch because he was worried that the demon race patriarch might be behind the assassination. Perhaps the demon race patriarch would personally rescue the 3 ancient demon sages. He had to think of all ways to stop these 3 primordial demon sages. Even if the assassination was successful, he definitely couldn't let these 3 murderers leave Thunder City alive. The other sages also sent emails frantically. Fengdu, please don't die. Purple Thunder Saint's expression turned ugly as he desperately flew far away. However, he felt that the chances of Sage Fengdu surviving were too slim. After all, the 3 primordial demon sages had chosen this moment to attack and catch them off guard. Their goal was to kill Sage Fengdu instantly. How could they give Sage Fengdu a chance to live? Even if they wanted to activate the Thunder City's restrictive formation, it would require a certain amount of time. It couldn't be activated on a whim. During the time it took for the Thunder City's restrictive formation to be activated, it was enough for the primordial demon sages to attack dozens of times. He didn't think that a mere undying sage could survive against a primordial demon sage who had comprehended the spacetime domain. Even so, he did his best and left it up to fate. He rushed over as fast as he could, hoping to save Sage Fengdu and not let this human genius die. At this moment, on the other side, 3 primordial demon sages and 1 near-primordial demon sage charged towards Xia Ping at the same time. They covered the sky and filled the air with killing intent. Space-time imprisonment. 3 primordial demon sages and 1 near-primordial demon sage came to assassinate me. The demon race sure is generous. Xia Ping's eyes revealed a cold gleam. Not only was he not afraid, but he was also extremely excited. Previously, when the human race and demon race were at war, he didn't activate the Universe Virtual Network's recording function to prevent his information from being leaked. That way, no matter how many primordial demon sages he killed, he wouldn't be able to obtain any points. Otherwise, after killing so many primordial demon sages in the Demon Saint Hall, his points would have skyrocketed. Unfortunately, in order to keep it a secret, he could only reluctantly give up his points. But now, there were 3 primordial demon sages and 1 near-primordial demon sage coming for him. This was a great opportunity. If he could kill all of them, his points would skyrocket immediately. One must know that killing an early primordial demon sage was worth 1 billion points. Killing a middle primordial demon sage was worth 3 billion points. Even a near primordial demon sage was worth 500 million points. They added up to 5.5 billion points. Therefore, in Xia Ping's eyes, they weren't assassins but a huge mobile treasure vault. If he could kill all of them, he would immediately become rich. Chapter 2402. Kiki Human Fengdu, I bet you didn't expect that you would be assassinated by us in the human territory. Let me tell you honestly, you will die even if you hide in the human territory after being targeted by us. One of the ancient demonic overlord laughed and looked down at Xia Ping. He was confident of his victory. With the 3 spacetime domains enveloping him, not to mention a mere undying sage, even a medieval sage wouldn't be able to move. Within the spacetime domain, not only was the space frozen, even time had stopped. This kid was like a turtle in a jar. He couldn't move at all and was instantly trapped. A puny undying sage like you should be proud to die in the hands of us 3 ancient demonic overlords. Don't even think about getting help. We understand the entire Thunder City's restriction array very well. To fully activate it, we will need at least 3 minutes. During this time we can kill you tens of times. Another ancient demonic overlord seemed to have Xia Ping in his grasp. Perhaps you want to seek help from Purple Thunder Sage and the rest. Unfortunately, we have already thought of this. They are currently celebrating in the City Lord Mansion. Even if they want to rush here, they will need some time. You won't be able to wait for help. In order to assassinate Xia Ping, they had already thought of a complete plan without any loopholes. Stop talking nonsense with this kid. Hurry up and kill him. The remaining ancient demonic overlord revealed a cold gleam in its eyes. Its killing intent was extremely heavy. It had no intention of talking nonsense with Xia Ping. It only wanted to kill this human sage instantly and complete its mission before escaping. After all, this was the human territory. Who knew what might happen? It was better to complete its mission first. That's simple. I just need to move slightly and he will be crushed into pieces by my spacetime domain. A puny undying sage actually dares to interfere in the war between the 2 races. He simply doesn't know his place. This time I want to kill the chicken to scare the monkey. I want to show you foolish humans the consequences of trying to resist us. One of the ancient demonic overlords sneered. With a thought, it controlled the spacetime domain. The entire void seemed to collapse, shattering the vacuum. A terrifying power pressed towards Xia Ping's body. In the face of such power, even a planet would be crushed into powder. Even an undying sage's undying cells would turn into ashes under the pressure of the spacetime domain. Dong. However, at that moment, when the power of the spacetime domain bombarded Xia Ping's body, his expression changed drastically. He suddenly realized that his spacetime domain was unable to crush the human race saint in front of him. It felt that its spacetime domain was pressing down on an indestructible rock. No, it should be crushing a large world with a spatial barrier. How is this possible? It can't be compressed or crushed. What's going on? The demon sage of the Middle Ages was shocked. He simply couldn't believe his eyes. Damn it, this is the domain of space. Our intel was wrong. This Fengdu isn't an immortal saint, he's already reached the near-ancient realm and comprehended the space laws. Furthermore, he's not just at the early near-ancient realm, he's already at the mid-near-ancient realm. Bastard. Which intelligence officer collected this information? When did this bastard reach the near-ancient realm? Did the intelligence officer grow up eating shit? You can't even tell the difference between immortal and ancient. The few demon saints cursed loudly. They were simply furious. They immediately had a bad feeling. Their target was not an undying saint, but a near-ancient saint who comprehended the law of space. One should know that the difference between the two was at least 10 times. At this moment, they simply wanted to tear that intelligence officer's soul to shreds. Mistaking the target's strength was a fatal mistake. It would cast a huge shadow on their assassination. Forget it. So what if he's a near-ancient saint? Even a near-ancient saint has to die against us 3 demon sages. A demon sage of the Middle Ages roared angrily. It was completely furious. No matter what, they had to kill the culprit of the human race today. However, at this moment, Xia Ping took a step forward. The space domain that had a diameter of 700 light-years suddenly burst out. It simply swept through the 9 heavens and 10 earths. It was like a projection of a world bombarding down. Bang! With just one strike, the 3 spacetime domains that covered a radius of tens of millions of kilometers were torn apart like paper by this tyrannical power. A terrifying energy storm immediately set off in the surroundings. A huge mushroom cloud floated up as if it was shaking the entire Thunder City. It was as if an earthquake of magnitude 18 had occurred. All the humans in the Thunder City could feel the vibration that shook the void. Even the Purple Thunder Saint and the Rain Listener Saint who were rushing over were stunned, not knowing what had happened. Impossible. This is the space-time domain that our demon sage of the Middle Ages unleashed. It can confine time and space. Even if you've advanced to the near-ancient realm, how can you shake our space-time domain? The eyes of the three demon sages and the near-ancient saint almost popped out. They simply could not believe that a mere near-ancient saint could use his own space-time domain to tear apart their space-time domain. Such a thing was simply unheard of. It was like a rabbit suddenly going crazy and killing a lion with one kick. Their space-time domain was instantly shattered. This caused the three demon sages to suffer a certain degree of injury. They almost vomited a mouthful of blood. However, they still endured it. They could not embarrass themselves in front of this human saint. Otherwise, if word got out that the three great demon sages of the Middle Ages had been shaken to the point of vomiting blood by a near-ancient sage, they would become enemies and become the laughingstock of countless sages. Bullshit. Xia Ping took another step forward. The void trembled and stars fell. His eyes were like torches. What's impossible about it? It only proves that your space-time domain is too weak. Even my space-time domain can't confine it. You want to assassinate me, Fengdu, with just this bit of strength? You must be joking. Could it be that there are no more experts in the demon race and they could only send trash like you? Swoosh. As soon as he finished speaking, he threw a punch. He operated the power of the space-time domain. It was as if it was so close yet so far away. It contained unparalleled power of space and destructive power. No! The Golden Horn Saint screamed. He sensed that the power of the punch had completely locked onto his soul. He wanted to dodge, but he realized it was too late. Because in just a second, Xia Ping teleported in front of him and punched through his chest. Boom! In an instant, the body of the Golden Horn Saint shattered. Even his soul couldn't withstand the power and was completely destroyed. Chapter 2403. What kind of joke is this? One of the ancient demon sages found it hard to believe. This sage Fengdu was simply too terrifying. In front of the three ancient demon sages, he was unscrupulous and domineering, killing a near-ancient demon sage with a single punch. One had to know that this was a near-ancient demon sage who had comprehended spatial laws. He should be an expert of the same level as this kid. Even under normal circumstances, they would need to fight for 300 rounds before a victor could be decided. How could it be like now, where the Golden Horn Sage was killed with a single punch? Damn you, Fengdu, you're courting death. How dare you kill another demon sage in front of us? I definitely won't let you off. Just wait for your death. The other two ancient demon sages were both shocked and furious. They flew into a rage. This sage Fengdu was simply too arrogant. He actually dared to kill their helper in front of them. This was not as simple as being slapped in the face. This was simply a humiliation to their dignity as ancient demon sages. It was as if he was saying that even if ancient demon sages were here, as long as Fengdu wanted to kill someone, no one would be able to live. Won't let me off? Do you think I'll let you off? All of you can stay here today. Xia Ping circulated the powerful magic power in his body, and a spatial domain that reached 700 light-years instantly enveloped the three ancient demon sages, completely wrapping them up and controlling them. What? How dare you try to use a spatial domain to restrain us? Who gave you such courage? The three ancient demon sages were furious. A puny near-ancient demon sage dared to use a spatial domain to restrain them? This was simply showing off in front of Confucius. How much did this guy look down on them? However, in the next second they were astonished. This was because this sage Fengdu's spatial domain was too terrifying. It was almost corporeal, as if it had formed the embryonic form of a world. The instant this spatial domain came crashing down, it seemed to lock down everything in this space. Even the laws of time seemed to be forcefully isolated from this domain. They felt that their spatial domain was completely suppressed. This was purely crushing them in terms of absolute power. Sometimes a space-time domain wasn't everything. If the space was strong enough, it could even affect the laws of time. It was just like how 50 kilograms of strength couldn't move a super train. Now they had the same feeling. Their space-time domains were clearly of a higher level, but they were helpless against this unimaginably large space domain. This was simply using one's power to suppress others. This won't do. The space-time domain doesn't have any effect on this fellow. Use soul attacks and kill this kid at the soul level. A primordial demon sage shouted. Although there were very few demon saints who were good at using soul secret techniques, they were naturally proficient in soul attack secret techniques since they had been dispatched as assassins. Many of the assassination targets had extremely strong defenses and immortal bodies, but they couldn't resist attacks on the soul level. This was the greatest weakness of the sages. Rumble, in the blink of an eye, the three primordial demon sages attacked at the same time. Powerful soul waves immediately erupted from their bodies, forming a soul storm. Even a middle-aged saint of the same level would be instantly killed in this place, turning into an idiot. There was even less of a need to talk about ordinary near-ancient saints and undying saints. They would be killed in an instant, unable to resist at all. Soul attack. Xia Ping squinted his eyes. He immediately sensed the terrifying soul attack waves from the three primordial demon sages. It was filled with destructive aura and terrifying energy. The soul wave seeped into his space domain because it was a higher-level attack that directly targeted the soul. Even the space-time domain couldn't completely resist it. Dong. In an instant, the powerful soul wave immediately bombarded the depths of Xia Ping's sea of consciousness. It attacked his soul body and produced extremely terrifying destructive waves. However, at this moment, a huge bell appeared from the depths of his soul. It was his natal magic treasure, the Chaos Bell. It immediately enveloped his entire soul and blocked the soul attack waves. The Chaos Bell buzzed and emitted chaotic air currents, easily stopping the soul attack of the three primordial demon sages. All the soul waves were turned into nothingness. In fact, the Chaos Bell was only the first layer of defense for his soul. The second layer of defense was the ultimate treasure, the World Tree. Even if a primordial sage came and used a soul attack, he probably wouldn't be able to break through the defense of the World Tree. If the primordial sages knew about this, they would probably go even more crazy. Of course, if they really knew, they probably wouldn't have the guts to come to Thunder City to assassinate him. What kind of joke is this? He actually has a soul defense magic treasure. Isn't he too rich? Damn it. The space-time domain can't restrain him and the soul attack doesn't work. How are we going to kill him? Damn it. Why did we encounter such a monster? We three primordial demon sages couldn't even kill him together. The eyes of the three primordial demon sages turned green and they were extremely jealous. It should be known that soul defense magic treasures were extremely rare in the universe. Even the primordial sages might not have one, let alone the primordial sages who didn't have one. However, this kid actually had a soul defense magic treasure. The value of this magic treasure alone surpassed many sage artifacts. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that it was priceless. They were going crazy with jealousy. This primordial sage of the human race was too rich. He even had a soul defense magic treasure. Where did he get it from? You have a lot of tricks up your sleeves. However, if you want to kill me with soul attacks, you are really delusional. Xia Ping's eyes were cold and murderous. Damn it. I can't continue like this. 3 minutes are almost up. The Thunder City's restriction array is about to be activated. Purple Thunder Sage, Rain Listener Sage and that bunch of scoundrels will probably arrive soon. Admit it. We failed our mission this time. We couldn't kill this Fengdu Sage. Instead we lost an important spy. Damn it. Damn human. I'll let him live a little longer this time. Don't let me find another opportunity. Otherwise I'll definitely kill him. The three primordial demon sages gritted their teeth. However, they were also decisive people. They immediately fled when they saw that the situation wasn't good. In fact, this was also a characteristic of killers. If they missed their target, they would flee far away. Even if they wanted to personally kill this bastard, according to the current situation, it was already impossible to kill this Fengdu sage. If they didn't escape from this place now, they would definitely die. No one could save them. Chapter 2404. Trying to escape? Do you think you can escape? Xia Ping immediately sensed the thoughts of the three primordial demon sages. He immediately activated his space domain and sealed the void in all directions, suppressing the 8 desolates. This way they would not be able to escape from his space domain. Bastard, you actually want to keep us here? Who do you think we, the demon sages, are? Do you think a small sage like you can stop us? This is a place where we can come and go as we please. The 3 demon sages had ferocious looks on their faces. They naturally sensed Xia Ping's space domain, but they were not afraid at all. Instead, they seemed to have expected it. With a swoosh, a transparent flower suddenly appeared in one of the demon sage's hands. It was the size of a palm, and the petals seemed to be flowing with dense nomological patterns, emitting an unfathomable aura. Be careful, This is the famous illusory sound flower of the universe. At this moment, the green ox's voice was heard. This illusory sound flower is a universe wonder, and it can only be used once. It is priceless, but once it is shattered, it will immediately turn the void within a radius of billions of miles into a real illusion. All living beings will fall into the illusion and will not be able to escape for a while. At the same time, this illusion seems to have reached the realm of turning nothing into reality. It can distort space-time, and even an invincible sage will not be able to escape for a while. What? Xiaoping's eyes narrowed when he heard this. He did not expect the three demon sages to have such a universe wonder. If he did not know, he would probably fall into the trap instantly. It was probably because they had such a backup plan that the three ancient demon saints had the guts to invade Thunder City. After all, with the illusory sound flower they could easily escape even if they killed him. Although the illusory sound flower was extremely precious and could be said to be priceless, it was worth it as long as they could kill a human genius like him. Unfortunately, they had underestimated their own strength, which led to the failure of this mission. It was like drawing water with a wicker basket. Even so, they did not want to die in this place. As soon as he finished speaking, the demon sages immediately crushed the illusory sound flower. Boom! In the blink of an eye, the palm-sized transparent flower immediately shattered. With the body of the primordial demon sage as the center, the area within a radius of several hundred light-years fell into a mysterious illusion. Bursts of unique and mysterious sound waves were transmitted to the ears of every human in Thunder City. Be it the saints from the Middle Ages like the Purple Thunder Saint and the Rain Listener Saint, or the mortals in the Thunder Retribution realm, all of them fell into an illusion. They were in a trance and could not move. Moreover, it was not as simple as falling into an illusion. The area within a radius of several hundred light-years had been enveloped by a real illusion, and all the laws of space and time had changed. It was as though at this moment, this region had fallen into a state between reality and illusion, jumping out of the three realms. Even the universe virtual network had temporarily lost control of this region. It was as though this wave of energy could even cut off the universe virtual network's signal transmissions, turning Thunder City into an isolated island. Billions of mysterious nomological notes came from the void and reached the depths of Xiaoping's sea of consciousness. It was as if they wanted to pull him into an illusory world and make him lose himself. Nonetheless, at that instant, the world tree in the depths of his sea of consciousness burst out. Layers of green barriers appeared and isolated the illusory art's power, allowing him to remain clear-headed and not fall into the illusion. In the distance, the three Middle Ages demon sages seemed to be enveloped by a mysterious power. They formed a light sphere and turned into an independent space, unaffected by the illusory sound flower's power. Damn it, I didn't expect that not only would we not be able to kill Fengdu, we would also lose an important spy and a precious illusory sound flower. This is a precious life-saving treasure that can't be bought with money. One of the Middle Ages demon sages gritted his teeth. He was in great pain as though his flesh was being cut off. This illusory sound flower was given to them by the demon ancestor. Initially, they thought that this operation would be very successful. Perhaps they would not even need to use the illusory sound flower when escaping. They did not expect that not only did they use the illusory sound flower, but they also failed to kill their target. It could be said that this operation was a complete failure. What should we do? I reckon that Fengdu has fallen into an illusion and is unable to retaliate. Perhaps we can take the opportunity to kill him and escape. Another primordial demon saint suggested. No. Although the illusory sound flower's power is strange and powerful, and even ancient sages might not be able to resist it, its illusion power is extremely weak. If we act rashly, we will immediately break the illusion. In that case, we might not be able to kill Fengdu and we will have to stay here forever. The remaining Middle Ages demon sage shook its head and rejected the suggestion. If using the illusory sound flower could kill that detestable Fengdu, it would have done so long ago. Although this one-time use illusory sound flower was extremely powerful and represented extreme illusory power and laws, it also had a fatal weakness. It could not last for long and could not be disturbed by external forces. This was considered a useless auxiliary treasure that could only be used when escaping. Even so, it made countless sages salivate. After all, at a critical moment, this item could save their lives. There was nothing more important than their lives. Alright, then let's hurry and run. Although the three primordial demon sages were unwilling to accept that they could not kill the Fengdu sage, their lives were more important now that things had come to this. If the demon race lost another three primordial demon sages, their losses would be unimaginable. Don't run. Stay here. However, before they could move, Xia Ping's figure appeared in front of them in an instant. At the same time, a terrifying space domain enveloped them and permeated the void in all directions. It was as though all space had frozen at this moment. They immediately felt like their bodies had fallen into a swamp and could not move at all. Impossible. Why didn't you fall into an illusion? Could it be that the illusory sound flower has no effect on you? The three primordial demon sages were completely dumbfounded. This was because the illusory sound flower was a universe wonder. Even ancient sages would be affected, so how could a near-ancient sage break free from the power of the illusory sound flower? If they hadn't confirmed it over and over again, they would have thought that they'd been affected by the illusory sound flower and fallen into an illusion. This was truly too inconceivable, and it was simply even more shocking than when they saw Xia Ping blast a demon saint to death with a single punch. Chapter 2405. However, Xia Ping had no intention of explaining himself to the three primordial demon sages. He took out his hell treasure, the reincarnation brush. He infused all his power into it, completely activating the reincarnation brush's supreme power. Rumble. In an instant, three dark golden lights shot out from the depths of the reincarnation brush. They seemed to be formed from countless hell scriptures, containing the auras of massacre, destruction, hell, eternity, chaos, etc. This power locked onto the souls of the three demon sages. This was a skill that targeted the soul. With the illusion sound flower's concealment, even the universe virtual network couldn't detect his abnormality. Therefore he could use all his trump cards without holding back. Damn, it's over. What kind of power is this? Time domain, time barrier, I'm invincible, heaven and earth reversal. The three primordial demon sages roared in anger. They sensed a fatal crisis. It was as if they had been targeted by a primordial god of the underworld. This destructive wave that targeted at the soul simply made their hair stand on end, and they were terrified. All of them operated the spacetime domain in their bodies. In an instant, layers of spacetime barriers appeared around their bodies. There were at least 18,000 layers of them. Even if a demon sage of the same level wanted to break through these time barrier, it would require tremendous effort. They were also very confident in their own defensive capabilities. Xiao xiao xiao. It was a pity that the three dark golden lights were the reincarnation power of the reincarnation brush. They also contained the power of cause and effect and soul power. They were beyond the time barrier. This was not something that the time barrier could block. In an instant, the three beams of dark golden light pierced through the spacetime barrier on their bodies and reached the depths of their souls, penetrating them in an instant. Ah! Impossible, this is impossible. I'm a demon sage. How can I be killed by a near-ancient sage? Block it for me. A mere near-ancient sage can't kill me. This is impossible. The three demon sages screamed and struggled with all their might. They were extremely terrified. It was a pity that no matter how strong they were, whether they were in the early or middle stages, they still couldn't block the reincarnation power of the reincarnation brush. With a boom, the souls of the three ancient demon sages were torn apart by the reincarnation brush. Their bodies and souls were torn to shreds just like that. They couldn't help but let out shrill screams, but they quickly stopped. Then, in a loud thud, their massive carcasses collapsed to the ground, stirring up a cloud of dust. Blood dripped down from his forehead, almost covering the ground. The air was filled with a strong smell of blood. As expected of the reincarnation brush, one of the strongest weapons of slaughter in the world. It is invincible and nothing can stop the reincarnation brush. Once again, Xia Ping recognized the power of the reincarnation brush. Such a sharp force could simply reverse the universe, reverse yin and yang, and destroy time and space. Even the barrier of time and space created by the demon saint of the Middle Ages could not withstand it. Rumble, at that moment, due to the intense fluctuations of battle occurring in this place, it also affected the environment of the entire Thunder City, causing the power of the illusory sound flower to rapidly weaken before disappearing. All the Thunder City sages who were trapped in the illusion also struggled out of it. Their eyes were clear and they seemed to have regained their consciousness. What happened? Just now, I felt like I appeared in another world. It was incomparably real. Illusion. Just now, we were trapped in an incomparably real illusion. What kind of joke is this? What kind of power could make us instantly fall into an illusion? This affected the entire Thunder City. Could it be that the Patriarch made a move? No. It wasn't the Patriarch. If it really was him, we wouldn't have the power to break free from the illusion. If I'm not wrong, this should be the power of the illusory sound flower. What? It's the power of the illusory sound flower. No wonder it's so terrifying. Many sages finally regained their consciousness. They were also amazed. They didn't expect the legendary illusory sound flower to be so terrifying. It instantly caused all the sages in the Thunder City to fall into an illusion. No one could break free. Oh no, Sage Fengdu. Sage Fengdu couldn't have been killed by the three ancient demon sages, right? At this moment, the Purple Thunder Sage, the Rain Listener Sage, and the others' expressions changed drastically. They couldn't care less about what was happening and immediately flew towards the location of the incident. However, when they arrived, they were dumbfounded. This was because they found Xia Ping standing at the same spot unscathed. However, there were 4 huge corpses on the ground. Judging from the powerful aura and the power of laws emanating from these corpses, they were the 3 ancient demon sages and a near-ancient pinnacle sage. 3 ancient demon sages and a near-ancient sage joined forces to kill an immortal sage. The immortal sage didn't die, but these ancient demon sages died instead? Could it be that this was still an illusion? Sage Fengdu, may I ask who these are? The Purple Thunder Sage stepped forward and asked. These 3 are ancient demon sages. This one seems to be the Golden Horn Sage from the Longhorn race. They tried to join forces to kill me, but I killed them instead. This is nothing. It's just a very ordinary thing. Xia Ping explained the situation in a simple manner. Ordinary? Ordinary, my ass. How does this look ordinary? The group of sages were so depressed that they wanted to vomit blood. Looking at how calm Sage Fengdu was, others who didn't know better would think that he was just killing a few ants. However, these were not ants. They were ancient demon sages who could be mentioned in the same breath as them. They were terrifying existences who had comprehended the space-time domain. These existences could suppress a region anywhere they were placed. They were definitely pillars of support. If they had died, it would have shaken the entire race and enraged their ancestors. However, they had died now. None of them had managed to escape and had died quietly in this place. Brother Fengdu, you've advanced to the near-ancient stage and comprehended the spatial laws? At this moment, the Rain Listener Sage sensed the faint aura of the space domain emanating from Xia Ping's body. It was emitting a terrifying pressure that made him feel like an ancient god. Even though he was a sage from the ancient demon sages, he actually felt inferior when facing Sage Fengdu. It was as if he was a lowly creature. The other sages were also shocked. The information they had received previously said that Sage Fengdu was only an immortal sage. However, he had advanced to the near-ancient stage now. It was really unbelievable. That's right. I've advanced to the middle stage of the near-ancient stage long ago and comprehended the spatial laws. That's why I could kill these 3 ancient demon sages. Since his strength had been seen through, Xia Ping didn't plan to continue hiding it. Chapter 2406. So that's how it is. He advanced to the near-ancient realm and comprehended the law of space. That's why he was able to kill the middle ancient sages so easily. No wonder he's so strong. Bullshit, do you think we would think that? The Purple Thunder Sage and the others gritted their teeth and their mouths twitched. Even if this kid wasn't an immortal sage but a near-ancient sage, it was still unbelievable. Everyone in the world knew how terrifying the middle ancient sages were. They comprehended the law of time and controlled the law of space and time. No matter how strong the near-ancient sages were, how could they be stronger than the middle ancient sages? The difference between them was like the difference between a rabbit and a lion. Killing a middle ancient sage as a near-ancient sage was even more unbelievable than killing a near-ancient sage as an immortal. This was because after the sage realm, the difference between the two would be greater. It would be harder to challenge someone of a higher level. As far as they could remember, there was not a single near-ancient realm cultivator who could kill a middle ancient realm cultivator. However, such a thing happened right in front of them. Therefore, the Purple Thunder Sage and the others were speechless and didn't know what to say. This? After a long time, the Purple Thunder Sage finally said, Sage Fengdu, I wonder what method you used to kill these ancient demon sages? His tone was much more respectful than before. No matter what method Fengdu Sage used, the fact that he could kill 3 middle ancient sage beasts meant that he was on equal footing with the Purple Thunder Sage. After all, it was extremely difficult for him to kill 3 middle ancient sage beasts with his current strength. It might even be impossible. I didn't use any methods. I just fought with them for 300 rounds. Then when I saw their flaws, I destroyed their souls. The process was very simple. There's nothing to write home about. Xia Ping said casually. Hee, keep making up stories. If we believe you, we'll lose. All the sages looked down on this guy who was full of nonsense. However, they also understood that this was his secret. It might be a secret trump card or a way to save his life at a critical moment. How could he be willing to say it? If they were Fengdu's sage, they probably wouldn't say such a thing in front of everyone. If there is nothing else, I will leave. I guess there are no more spies in the entire Thunder City. Xia Ping waved his hand and swept away the 4 demon saint corpses on the ground. After all, these were all top-grade fertilizers. If the world tree absorbed them, it would immediately be able to refine time fruits and space fruits. These were priceless treasures that could not be wasted. When the other sages saw this, they were all salivating. After all, the things on a demon saint were extremely precious. However, this was Saint Fengdu's spoils of war, so they had no right to dispose of it. Boom! At that moment, a voice descended from the void and reached the depths of every sage's consciousness. What's going on? Didn't 3 primordial demon sages sneak into the Thunder City to kill the Fengdu sage? Where is he? Where did he go? The one who spoke was a human ancestor. It was Ancestor Kong Kong. After the other party received Lei Cheng's distress message, he immediately used his projection to descend, but when his projection arrived, there was no trace of the demon saint. Ancestor, the 3 primordial demon sages and a near-ancient peak demon saint have been killed by the Fengdu sage. Their corpses are in the hands of the Fengdu sage. The Purple Thunder sage immediately replied respectfully. What did you say? Sure enough, when Ancestor Kong Kong heard this, he was dumbfounded. The other sages also secretly smiled. Even the ancestor was shocked by this matter. It seemed that they were not ignorant people. This kind of thing was really rare. What about the Fengdu sage? Ancestor Kong Kong asked. He has already left. He may have suffered serious injuries during the battle with the 3 primordial demon sages, so he went back to rest and heal. Purple Thunder sage thought for a moment and gave a reason. The sages' mouths twitched. They felt that the kid did not look injured at all. He was very lively, not at all like he had fought with the primordial demon sages. From this, they could see how terrifying the Fengdu sage was. Even though he was only a near-ancient sage, he could still kill the primordial demon sages. It was really terrifying. At this moment, in the holy land of Taichu, several human ancestors gathered together. What happened? Didn't they say that a primordial demon assassinated the Fengdu sage? How come he came back so soon? Did something happen to him? Xiaoyao Ancestral Master asked. It's over. Fengdu is fine. Instead, he's very lively. He killed the 3 primordial demon sages and a near-ancient one who tried to assassinate him. Besides, he seems to have ascended to the near-ancient sage realm. Ancestor Kong Kong's mouth twitched. What did you say? Hearing this, the Xiaoyao Ancestral Master couldn't help but be astonished. Each of these pieces of news was earth-shattering. Even though he had lived for countless years, he was still shocked by this news. Killing a primordial demon sages was horrifying. In the long history of the universe and all the races in the universe, there were only a few such monsters. If he didn't die, he would definitely ascend to the invincible realm. Is there any surveillance footage? Do you know how he killed the 3 medieval demon sages? Old Ancestor of Heaven and Earth asked. If he had only killed one demon saint of the Middle Ages, he might have relied on his own strength. However, he had killed 3 at the same time and remained unscathed. No matter how he looked at it, there was something fishy about it. He must have some powerful secret treasure on him to be able to do such a thing. No, during the time when he killed the 3 ancient demon sages, the surrounding universe virtual network was paralyzed by the illusory sound flower. We were unable to monitor the battle process. Ancestor Kong sighed. It's possible that he obtained some powerful magic treasure or some kind of universal secret treasure to be able to do this. But if that's the case, there's no need to worry about his safety. At the very least, the ancient demon sage can't do anything to him. The Xiaoyao Ancestral Master nodded. In fact, all of them would have such a fortuitous encounter. In the universe, there were all kinds of powerful treasures that could allow one to kill someone of a higher level. It was just that these treasures were rare and did not appear often. His true identity hasn't been exposed, right? Old Ancestor of Heaven and Earth asked. No. He wasn't assassinated by the demon clan because of his identity as Xia Ping. Instead, he did all kinds of big things with the identity of Fengdu, which aroused the hatred of the demon clan. However, after this incident, I'm afraid the other races will be more afraid of his identity as Fengdu than Xia Ping. Ancestor Kong was speechless. He had changed his identity so that this kid could keep a low profile and not be targeted by powerful enemies of all the races in the universe. He didn't expect that this kid would still do such earth-shattering things and never stop. In this case, what was the point of changing his identity? However, since he had done such things, he couldn't stop it and could only help to deal with the aftermath. Chapter 2407. At this moment in the demon race sacred land. Many demon race patriarchs also learned that the 3 ancient demon sages they sent had been killed by Xia Ping. Their faces were extremely ugly as they had been slapped in the face by the human race. Trash, those 3 guys are simply trash. I gave them an illusory sound flower so that they could return safely. A demon race patriarch shouted angrily, I didn't expect that not only did the 3 of them fail to complete the assassination mission, but they also left their lives in the human race's base, causing our demon race to lose face. Bastards, how did those pieces of trash ascend to the ancient demon sage stage? They can't even deal with a mere near-ancient demon sage. This is simply a disgrace. Flew into a rage. It felt that the actions of the 3 primordial demon saints had disgraced it. If other patriarchs knew that this matter was set up by him, he would probably become a laughingstock and be mocked for many years. One could imagine how angry he was now. We can't blame those 3 ancient demon sages. We can only say that Fengdu's strength is extraordinary. Even if he might have some powerful universe secret treasures to assist him, we have to admit that he is very powerful. At least he can survive in front of the ancient demon sage. A demon race patriarch said in a deep voice. He knew that there were naturally some treasures in the universe that could allow the weak to defeat the strong and kill the ancient demon sage. The problem was that if one couldn't even move in front of the ancient demon sage, then what was the point of having more treasures? The ancient demon sage's spacetime domain shrouded over and sealed the spacetime of billions of kilometers. This power of sealing time ensured that one wouldn't even have the chance to use treasures. Did you find out Fengdu's true identity? What is his background? Is he from an ancient family, the descendant of a sage, or did he have some fortuitous encounter? It's impossible for such a monster to appear out of nowhere. We're already investigating, but the human race's intelligence system is very strict. Fengdu's identity is extremely confidential. Only people at the level of the human race patriarchs are qualified to investigate. We still don't know his background for the time being. However, some intelligence personnel guessed that Fengdu might be the peerless monster Xia Ping who caused an uproar previously. What's the possibility of that? At least 70%. Of course, I can't guarantee that everything is correct. It might really be someone else. After all, there are too many monsters in the human race. Wu Wudi, who stole our primordial Skydragon talisman, is an example. Another human bastard. Just how much trouble do these humans want to bring to our demon race? How hateful. The ancestral patriarchs of the monster clans discussed with solemn expressions. Damn humans. How could they have so many geniuses? Moreover, they are emerging one after another. The threat they bring to our human race is getting greater and greater. If it weren't for the abyss demons, a huge threat to all the races in the universe, our demon race would have already started a war with the human race. We definitely wouldn't allow them to grow to this extent. This is really raising a tiger to invite disaster. A monster patriarch gritted his teeth and was filled with killing intent. There's no point in saying so much. The human race's power has already been established. Their tail is too big to be shaken, and they're vaguely showing signs of becoming the leader of all the races in the universe. The leader of all races? Could the human race afford to wear such a crown? Aren't they afraid of being crushed to death? Kiki, it's good to give this title to the human race. Once the abyss demons invade the universe as the leader, shouldn't he face them head-on? He should be the first to go up and become the main force of the allied army. That's right. Sometimes a crown isn't a good thing in the face of a disaster. Being the main force will cause us to die the fastest and suffer heavy losses. I reckon that after the battle with the abyss demons, the human race will suffer heavy losses and decline. That will be fun. There are no races in this universe that can last forever. In the past, the dragon race, the phoenix race, the Qilin race, and other races were also peak races that ruled the universe. But now, aren't they hiding and don't dare to fight for supremacy? Then bear with the human race for a period of time. Once the war with the abyss demons ends, the human race will have a good time. The ancestral patriarchs of the monster clans were filled with killing intent. A sinister light flashed in the depths of their eyes, making people shudder. In the abyss world. At this moment, some abyss overlords were gathered together. Many terrifying demons sat on the thrones. They seemed to be the leaders of the abyss world. Their bodies emitted a towering demonic aura, as if they were favored by the abyss. Recently, the human race and the monster clan seemed to be at war. Many sages died on both sides. Some abyss demons were well informed and knew what had happened in Jianghu City. Foolish humans and monster clans. They clearly know that the abyss world's invasion is imminent, but they are still fighting among themselves. This is the human nature of the various races. Their hatred for each other might be even deeper than that of us abyss demons. Kiki, isn't this a good thing? The fiercer they fight, the better. It's best if both sides fight to the death and perish together. That will save us a lot of energy. How can there be such a good thing in the world? But to us, the more sages die, the better. But we can't underestimate the potential of these races. In times of war, many geniuses will rise rapidly. Back then, Patriarch Xiaoyao, Patriarch Kong Kong, and the others rose rapidly from war. So, we must be wary of the geniuses of the various races. We can't give them a chance to grow. Don't worry. Learning from the last war, we've already activated the hunting opportunity. We'll specifically hunt down the geniuses of the various races. Anyone with a bit of fame will be on our hunting list. Recently, Wu Wudi of the human race and that Fengdu sage are on our blacklist. Soon, you will hear about the fall of these human geniuses. Many abyss demons discussed and carried out an extremely sinister plan. They used the entire universe as a chessboard and started to move their pieces step by step. Other than the peak races like the human race and monster clan, there are also the dragon race, phoenix race, Qilin race and other powerful races. Don't underestimate these former overlords of the universe. An abyss demon said in a deep voice, although they are content in a corner now and never show themselves, who knows what they will do at the crucial moment. In the primordial era, it was these races who ambushed us from behind. Otherwise, we wouldn't have suffered such a crushing defeat. I haven't forgotten this hatred for even a second. Don't worry, we've already prepared a gift for those useless races. Soon they will know how terrifying it is to offend us. This time, we will make them suffer heavy losses and no longer be able to compete with us. The eyes of these abyss overlords revealed a cold glint that made people shudder. Chapter 2408. Thunder City, the space of the pearl of mountains and rivers. A few days later, the storm caused by the demon clan's assassination in Thunder City slowly subsided, and Xia Ping finally received a huge reward from the All Saints Palace. Even though there was no surveillance video as proof, there were witnesses and material evidence in hand, which was enough to prove that Xia Ping had killed 3 demon sages from the Middle Ages and 1 demon sage at the peak of the Near Ancient Age. This time he had also obtained a total of 5 billion points, in addition to the 3 billion points from before. He had a total of 8 billion points on him. In addition to obtaining the All Saints Palace points, he had also killed 3 demon sages from the Middle Ages and 1 demon sage at the peak of the Near Ancient Age, which aroused great hatred from the demon clan and also brought him 200 hatred crystals. This was another huge sum of money, making the total number of hatred crystals he had on him reach 1,680. It could be said that he had gained a lot from this assassination. However, although Xia Ping had won a great victory, he suddenly felt that he seemed to lack some effective killing methods, especially if he wanted to kill sage-level experts. Ordinary magical powers were already very difficult to work. Even though he had supreme magic treasures such as the Reincarnation Pen and the Book of Karma, these magic treasures were his trump cards and could not be used easily. It seems that I need to exchange for some powerful secret soul techniques. Xia Ping touched his chin. This time, the demon clan's assassination gave him some inspiration. If he wanted to completely kill a sage-level expert, only soul attacks would be the most effective. Although the true solution of illusions he had was a relatively powerful secret technique, the problem was that this secret technique was equivalent to a martial arts manual. It could analyze everything related to illusions, but it did not have any powerful secret soul techniques. I wonder what secret soul techniques the All Saints Palace has. He thought carefully and immediately logged into the All Saints Palace's internal website. As a peak race, the human clan had collected countless precious secret techniques, and there must be many secret soul techniques among them. Even though secret soul techniques were extremely precious in the entire universe and would not be easily taught, a human saint like him was qualified to come into contact with them. Immediately he opened the exchange list for secret soul techniques. Immediately there were many secret soul techniques listed on it. There were at least tens of thousands of them. Of course, these secret soul techniques varied from ordinary to precious, with varying values. For example, the soul lock technique seemed to be able to lock onto the enemy's soul and track them. No matter where the enemy ran to in the universe, they would be easily locked onto by the soul lock technique. The ripple soul shock technique could stimulate ripple-like soul fluctuations, forming a terrifying shock. Even the spacetime domain could not withstand it. It could easily knock the enemy unconscious or even cause them to vomit blood. There were also curse techniques, which were powerful soul secret techniques that contained the curse law. They could curse enemies across countless spacetime distances. The problem was that this secret technique had a huge flaw. Just like the 7 wounds fist, if you wanted to injure others, you had to injure yourself first. If you wanted to destroy the enemy's soul, you had to sacrifice your own soul. This was an equal exchange. It could be said that this was a sinister method of perishing together with the enemy. There are actually so many of them. However, since I am going to cultivate them, I will naturally have to cultivate the strongest secret soul technique. Xia Ping looked at the list and immediately saw the most expensive soul secret art. It required 1 billion points to exchange for, and its name was Zhuangzhou's Dream of Butterfly. You must be joking. 1 billion points to exchange for a secret soul technique. When he saw the exchange points, he couldn't help but jump in fright. Other soul secret techniques required tens of millions of points at most, but this secret technique required a whopping 1 billion points. It was simply frightening. However, after reading the introduction, he suddenly understood why such a secret skill was so expensive. This secret soul technique, Zhuangzhou Meng Dai, seemed to have been created by a human saint who had reached the invincible realm. He was the strongest master of illusion in the entire human clan. In the primordial age, when fighting against the demons of the abyss, Saint Zhuangzhou could cover billions of light years with a single thought, causing countless demons to fall into a dream. Even the abyss demons in the invincible realm couldn't resist it. It could be said that he alone could fend off countless demons from the abyss. His name shook the boundless universe, and all the races in the universe were in awe of him. The dragon race, the phoenix race, and many other races all treated him like an esteemed guest. But unfortunately, Saint Zhuangzhou was too much of a threat. The demons of the abyss saw him as a thorn in their flesh. They used all kinds of tricks and plotted against Saint Zhuangzhou. In the end, Saint Zhuangzhou died from serious injuries. This secret technique, Zhuangzhou Meng Dai, was a supreme secret technique left behind by Saint Zhuangzhou. All the saints of the human clan treated it like a treasure. It contained Saint Zhuangzhou's lifelong efforts and his understanding of the rule of illusion. It could be said that this wasn't just a simple secret technique. It also contained Saint Zhuangzhou's understanding of his own cultivation. No wonder it requires 1 billion points. The understanding of an invincible saint is indeed worth so many points. Xia Ping realized. However, he now had a total of 8 billion points on him, so a mere 1 billion points was nothing. Being able to see such a precious soul secret technique was also a huge gain. Beep. Thinking of this, he didn't hesitate and immediately exchanged for the secret technique, Zhuangzhou Meng Dai. Exchange successful. At this moment, a robotic voice resounded from the depths of the universe virtual network. Fengdu Saint, this Zhuangzhou Meng Dai is one of the highest secret techniques of the human clan. Its value cannot be described with words. You must never leak it out. If not, you will be seen as a traitor and be chased by the human clan. I hope Fengdu Saint will remember this. In truth, only human saints had the right to exchange for this technique. It only required 1 billion points. If it was someone from another race, no matter how many points they had, they wouldn't be able to exchange for it. Even vassal races couldn't do so. I understand. I definitely won't leak it out. Xia Ping nodded. This technique is extremely important. It can only be used in the universe virtual network. Hence, Fengdu Saint has to stay in the universe virtual network to receive the inheritance. The robotic voice resounded once more. Yes. Xia Ping said. Rumble, the moment the voice landed, the entire universe virtual network changed. It seemed to transform into a boundless space. An old man wearing a Taoist robe appeared in front of Xia Ping. He sat in space. It was as though he was riding on a Kuanping that had crossed multiple star fields. His body was in between reality and illusion. It was as though he was in a different dimension. No one could find his tracks. Without a doubt, this old man was the legendary Zhuangzhou sage. Of course, this wasn't his real body. It was just a projection that he had left in the universe virtual network. Even after countless years, it hadn't weakened at all. He wondered exactly how powerful such a figure was in the primeval age. He didn't bother with Xia Ping. He sat in space and spat out words. It was like the sound of the Tao. It formed the laws of the universe. It was a supreme scripture. This was the content of Zhuangzhou Mengdai. Xiaping didn't dare delay. He focused and listened carefully to Zhuangzhou sage's words. Chapter 2409. Many days later, Xiaping finally left the virtual network. He also learned Saint Zhuangzhou's secret technique from the inheritance, Zhuangzhou Dream of Butterfly. Phew, indeed an invincible saint's soul technique, it's indeed extraordinary. He took a deep breath and was in high spirits. A terrifying light shone in the depths of his eyes. After several days of preaching and listening to the teachings of Saint Zhuangzhou, he had a deeper understanding of the illusory arts. He had already reached a new level and gained a lot from it. Even though he had the true understanding of illusory arts, he could not compare to Sage Zhuangzhou, who had immersed himself in illusory arts for countless years. Just a few words from him was enough to enlighten him. This was the use of a master. Zhuangzhou Dream of Butterfly, this technique is indeed powerful. Xiaping squinted his eyes. Just at the beginner level, this soul technique could instantly release illusions, pulling the enemy into a dream, making them think that they have become a carefree butterfly, without any worries, falling into eternal oblivion. Don't think that this was easy to achieve. In fact, just the beginner level was extremely difficult. This was because any warrior with a strong will would find it extremely difficult to hypnotize someone, much less pull them into an illusion. To do this, one needed to completely hypnotize someone or even erase all their memories before instilling it into the butterfly's memory. Only then could such a thing be done. Furthermore, if one didn't instill the butterfly's memory but a pig's, then one would become a pig eating and sleeping well every day. Instilling into a dog's memory, then one would become a dog. And if it was instilled into someone else's memory, then one would think that one was dead and reincarnated. One wouldn't have any doubts, instead they would find all sorts of reasons to convince themselves. In the past, Sage Zhuangzhou had changed the memories of billions of abyssal demons with a single thought, making them think that he was a human. Thus they had betrayed him. They hated the original abyssal demons and killed each other, causing the abyss to suffer heavy losses. From this, one could see how terrifying Zhuangzhou Dream of Butterfly was. However, this is just the beginner level. If I reach a higher level, it'll be even more terrifying. Xiaping clenched his fists. What he had just described was just the basics. If he could reach a higher level, he would be able to cover thousands of light years with a single thought. Using his soul force, he would be able to create a huge illusion world. This illusory world was incomparably real. It had its own civilization, its own history, and countless creatures lived here. The civilization was extremely resplendent and dazzling. Enemies who were enveloped by the illusory world would be dragged into this world and become a member of the illusory characters in this world, making them think that their lives were just like that and that they would sink into oblivion forever. Of course, this ability seemed to be somewhat similar to the true illusion quintessence, and there seemed to be some similarities between the two. Therefore, Sage Zhuangzhou's mastery in illusions might not be comparable to the creator of the true solution of illusions, but he had already walked on the same path and understood the true essence of the great Tao of illusions. However, compared to the true solution of illusions, Sage Zhuangzhou's Dream of Butterfly was more like a manual. It was as if someone was teaching you how to fabricate dreams step by step. To give a simple example, the true solution of illusions was like basic physics and mathematics, which could help you understand the essence of illusions. However, Sage Zhuangzhou's Dream of Butterfly was a book that taught you how to build and maintain various technological machines. Of course, it was almost impossible for an ordinary person to learn Sage Zhuangzhou's Dream of Butterfly because it was too difficult. Furthermore, it had a high requirement for one's aptitude. However, for someone like Xiaping who had already comprehended the true solution of illusions, comprehending Sage Zhuangzhou's Dream of Butterfly was like a matter of course. Another 10 days passed. Xiaping stayed in the space of the mountain river Pearl and continued to study Sage Zhuangzhou's Dream of Butterfly. As for the various things that happened in the outside world, it had nothing to do with him. Among them were the sages of Thunder City, such as the Purple Thunder Sage. The Rain Listener Sage once wanted to visit him, but he refused to meet them with the reason that he was in seclusion. On this day his body trembled. Boom, in an instant, with his body as the center, a huge illusory world with a radius of 700 light-years immediately enveloped it. Mountains rose from the ground, rivers ran through the void, countries stood in great numbers, and countless living beings with flesh and blood appeared in this world. These living beings could even talk to each other. They had their own history, memories, and personalities. The laws of illusion interweaved with each other, enveloping this world like an eggshell. It was as if a world had been created out of thin air. If this was not an illusory state, others who saw this scene would probably believe it was real, thinking that a huge, mysterious and tyrannical world had appeared in this universe. My illusory realm has finally reached the first level of perfection. Xia Ping clenched his fists in excitement. Without a doubt, this sage Zhuangzhou's dream of butterfly had a great effect on him. The first level of illusory techniques was one thought, one world. It was also divided into beginner, intermediate, advanced, and perfection. Now he had finally reached the first level of perfection. He was only one step away from the second level of illusory techniques, one thought, one world. Once he broke through to the second level of illusory techniques, he would be a true grandmaster of illusion. Such an existence, even in the entire universe, could be counted on one's fingers. However, even the first level of illusory techniques, perfection, was extremely terrifying. If it was a sage whose soul power was weaker than his, he could probably pull the enemy into the illusion world of Zhuangzhou's dream of butterfly with just a thought, causing the enemy to sink into it forever, unable to extricate themselves. The most terrifying characteristic of Zhuangzhou's dream of butterfly was that it was stealthy and silent. Often, it could control the enemy unknowingly. That was why Sage Zhuangzhou was feared by all the races in the universe, and was regarded as a mortal enemy by the demons of the abyss. Since my illusory techniques have reached perfection, it seems that it is time to head to the dragon world. The reason why Xia Ping had not gone to the dragon world for so long was because he wanted to improve his illusory techniques to perfection. After all, the dragon world was the base camp of the dragon race. There were countless experts and old monsters there, who knew what kind of accident would happen. Therefore, the more tricks he mastered, the higher the chance of survival. Now that his illusory techniques had reached the first level of perfection, his strength was probably several times more terrifying than before. With just a thought, he could make the sage of the Middle Ages fall into an illusion, unable to extricate himself. Even if he were to be besieged by the dragon race's sage, he would not be afraid. In front of an illusion master, besieging him would be equivalent to courting death. Chapter 24:10. A few days later, Xia Ping quietly left Thunder City without letting anyone know about it. After leaving the Thunder City, he took out the Myriad Star, boarded the flying ship, and flew off into the distance. Master, yes, fly towards the northeast. I can sense that the Dragon Realm is there. It seems to be quite far away from the Thunder Sea region. The primordial heavenly dragon talisman artifact spirit directed the direction the Myriad Star was flying in. Oh right, do you have a name for the primordial heavenly dragon talisman? Xia Ping asked. No, I might have had a name before, but I have lost almost all of my memories, so I don't have a name now, the primordial heavenly dragon talisman artifact spirit replied. Xia Ping rubbed his chin and said, all right, then I will give you a name. It will be easier for you to remember in the future. You shall be called Ao Wu from now on. Thank you, Master. The primordial heavenly dragon talisman artifact spirit nodded excitedly. Its sense of belonging to Xia Ping had also increased. This time the voyage took a full 3 months. During this period, the Myriad Star crossed countless seas and dodged countless cosmic storms. Finally, it neared the Dragon Realm. It seemed to be a remote and barren sea region. This nameless sea region was also in the Mystic Zone. However, because of the lack of resources, basically no one came to this place. Is this the place? Xia Ping asked. He looked around. Everywhere was barren. There were also many isolated islands in this sea region. However, there were no resources on these isolated islands. They were worthless. It was no wonder that no race came to this place. It was practically deserted. Even in the Mystic Zone that was rich in resources, there were actually many places that were even more barren than ordinary zones. These were all uninhabited zones and no one would fight for such territory. Yes, Master. I can sense that the entrance to the Dragon Realm should be nearby. Ao Wu nodded and said confidently, however, we can't enter the Dragon Realm for now. We need to find a loophole in the Dragon Realm before we can enter. Otherwise, the patriarchs of the Dragon Realm will definitely find out. Although he could sense where the Dragon Realm was, he still needed a certain amount of time to enter the Dragon Realm without being discovered by the patriarchs of the Dragon Realm. Only then could he find the loophole in the Dragon Realm. After all, such a huge world could not be without loopholes even though it looked perfect. These loopholes were the key to entering the Dragon Realm. Dragon Realm? I'll see if it's nearby. Xia Ping activated the golden crow's eyes of hell and saw through the void, piercing through the 8 realms. All the spacetime hidden in the depths of the dimension appeared in his pupils, big and small. Boom! In an instant he saw a huge dimensional entrance appear above a deserted island. It seemed to be hidden beyond the 108,000 dimensional barriers. If not for the Hell Golden Crow's eyes that allowed him to ignore dimensional barriers, he probably wouldn't have discovered the existence of this entrance. In the sky above the entrance, an extremely huge world had appeared. This world was simply boundless, spanning tens of trillions of light years. Even with the power of Xiaoping's divine sense, he could only perceive the tip of the iceberg. Vaguely, he discovered that the appearance of this world was like an ancestral dragon. It exuded an endless aura of a true dragon and contained extremely complicated runes of the laws of origin. This kind of aura suppressed the void and suppressed the surroundings. However, the size of this ancestral dragon was simply too big. It was so big that one couldn't even see its tail and head. All one could see was a piece of scale on its body. Just the surface area of this scale alone was probably 10 times larger than the Lightning Sea region. What is this? Could the Dragon Realm be a super world formed after the ancestral dragon died? Xiaoping was shocked. He felt as if he had seen through many of the mysteries of the Dragon Realm. The Golden Crow of Hell bloodline in his body also seemed to be shaken by this aura from the ancestral dragon. It was vaguely resisting, as if a Golden Crow of Hell had awakened from the depths of his bloodline. At this moment his body was buzzing. Every drop of Golden Crow of Hell blood was boiling like lava from hell. The dark golden blood surged like the ocean. Master, could it be that you have discovered the location of the Dragon Realm? Ao Wu asked curiously. He had also sensed the strange state of Xiaoping's body. Yes, I have indeed seen it. Xiaoping nodded. That's amazing, Master. Ao Wu's face was full of admiration. It is said that the Dragon Realm is different from ordinary worlds. It exists in between reality and illusion. It is illusory and exists above the void. Even primordial sages may not be able to sense the aura and traces of this world. Ordinary sages would not even be able to sense the Dragon Realm if it appeared in front of them, much less come into contact with it. It is as if it is in another dimension. He knew that just the ability to discover the location of the Dragon Realm was extraordinary. This master of his was indeed very powerful. He was only at the near ancient realm, but his ability had already surpassed many sages. No wonder you said that we need to find the loophole of the Dragon Realm before we can enter. This world is indeed seamless and flawless. There is almost no loophole that can be used to invade. Xiaoping narrowed his eyes. He could see that the Dragon Realm in the depths of the dimension was covered in dense nomological patterns. It seemed to form a complete closed loop, constantly flowing and rotating. It was unfathomably deep. Thick nomological chains like the Milky Way wrapped around this world, forming an absolute world domain. It was even different from the original nomological laws of the universe. It operated completely independently. One could imagine that if any foreign object entered the Dragon Realm, it would immediately be discovered by the old antiques that controlled the Dragon Realm. Even a fly would not be able to enter. It was not that no sages had searched for traces of the Dragon Realm over the countless years. They had even appeared at the entrance of the Dragon Realm. The problem was that the entire Dragon Realm was like a super fortress. So what if they found traces of the Dragon Realm? Without the permission of the dragon race's patriarchs, no sages could enter. Unless they wanted to start an all-out war with the patriarchs. Also, the Dragon Realm could move freely and could move to other places at any time. Thus, the traces of the Dragon Realm became even more elusive. As time passed, the dragon race became even more mysterious. Even the sages did not know much about the dragon race. Master is wise. Ao Wu was impressed. How long do you need to find a way to sneak into the Dragon Realm? Xiaoping asked. Ao Wu thought for a moment. 3 days. I need at least 3 days to find the loophole of the Dragon Realm's operation. Alright, then we'll wait here for 3 days. Xiaoping nodded. He also did not want to alarm those old antiques of the dragon race by entering the Dragon Realm. That could cause him great trouble. This time he was here to obtain benefits, not to look for trouble. Chapter 24:11. Just as Xiaoping was about to find a deserted island and wait for 3 days, boom! All of a sudden he sensed intense battle fluctuations hundreds of light years away. The void was distorted. It seemed like sages were fighting on another deserted island. What's going on? There's still a battle going on here? Xiaoping's heart flickered. The World Tree clone on his body immediately extended billions of thick roots of the World Tree, covering an area of 700 light-years in an instant. Soon, his divine sense silently enveloped the battlefield and saw what was happening there. In the center of the battlefield, 4 immortal sages appeared. 3 of them were sages of the dragon tribe. All of them emitted a terrifying dragon aura that distorted the void. The last one was a human sage, a female sage who had just entered the immortal realm. However, Xiaoping recognized this sage. It was Yi Mengyao, whom he had a one-night stand with. At this moment, Yi Mengyao was in a precarious situation. She spat out a mouthful of blood. Her aura was weakening rapidly. Clearly, she had been severely injured while being chased. Even though she had an immortal body, she was still no match for the 3 peak immortal realm sages of the dragon tribe. She would probably die in the hands of the dragon tribe sages soon. It's Yi Mengyao. Why is she here? Xiaoping's body flickered and he immediately teleported over. Although he didn't know what was happening around Yi Mengyao, he couldn't just watch Yi Mengyao die in this place. Currently, on a deserted island, 3 peak immortal realm sages of the dragon tribe were confronting Yi Mengyao. Both sides were engaged in a fierce battle. Although Yi Mengyao was only an early immortal realm sage, her combat power was terrifying. She held a low-grade sacred longbow in her hand. Every time she shot, it was like an arrow of principle. Every time she shot, it could severely injure the immortal body of the dragon tribe. The 3 peak immortal realm sages of the dragon tribe were also fearful. They kept dodging. If they were hit, even with their powerful bodies, they would be severely injured. Human, hand over the dragonwood star nucleus. If you hand it over, we can spare your life. That's right. This dragonwood star is of great benefit to our dragon race. It can be considered a treasure of our dragon race. There's no way it would fall into the hands of you humans. You are alone right now while there are 3 of us. Even if your combat prowess is not bad, you are definitely no match for us. Most importantly, we've already notified the elders in the clan. Very soon, near ancient realm sages and even middle ancient realm sages will arrive. You won't be able to escape. The 3 saints of the dragon tribe at the peak of immortal realm shouted. They tried to attack Yi Mengyao's morale. If this human woman's confidence wavered in the slightest, they would not hesitate to use their killer moves to kill this human sage and snatch the dragonwood star core. It's the dragonwood star core? Xiaoping, who was teleporting over, couldn't help but be moved when he heard these words. This was an incredible peerless treasure. It was rumored that this was the essence of a planet. This peerless treasure would only be born when the planet was about to be extinguished. Ordinary sages would not be able to see it even once in a billion years. If it was put up for auction, it would be sold out. This was because this star core contained the complete laws of the universe. If one carried it with them and carefully comprehended it, it would be of great help in comprehending the laws of the yard. It would allow one to get closer to the origin of the universe. If they could devour the energy inside this star core, they could immediately save billions of years of cultivation. It was equivalent to devouring the essence of a living planet. One could imagine how precious the star core was. And this dragonwood star core was even more incredible. Perhaps a sage of the dragon tribe had once fallen on a planet. Its blood had seeped into every corner of the planet and fused with the star core. Then, after billions of years of metamorphosis, it finally became a peerless treasure. Therefore, this star core not only contained the pure essence of the wood element, but it also contained extremely abundant life energy. It also contained an enormous amount of origin energy of the dragon tribe sages. If this star core was taken away by the dragon tribe sages and devoured, they would probably be able to advance immediately. Even for the sages of the Middle Ages, it was a treasure that was extremely desired. Xiaoping did not find it strange that these sages of the dragon tribe would have evil intentions. It was because the dragonwood star core was too precious. It was a treasure that could not be bought even with money. Get lost, the dragonwood star core is a treasure I found on this deserted island. It is not a treasure of your dragon tribe. You are really shameless. You want to steal my treasure? Let's see if you have the ability to do so. Yi Mengyao sneered. She had rich battle experience and was also a peerless genius that only appeared once in a billion years. How could she be scared by the words of these sages of the dragon tribe? Even though she was in a critical situation, it did not mean that she did not have a way to escape. Moreover, it would not be easy for these 3 peak immortal realm sages to kill her. However, although she did not want to admit it, her current situation was indeed very dangerous. In order to escape, she had been burning her chi and blood. She had already started to damage the essence of her soul. If she continued, she might damage her foundation. At that time, even if she could escape, if her foundation was damaged, she would never be able to reach the near ancient realm for the rest of her life. She felt that she was really out of luck. Originally, she thought that she had found a relic of an almighty expert on this deserted island and discovered the existence of the dragonwood star core. Her luck had turned for the better. However, she had never thought that she would meet these sages of the dragon tribe. Originally, these sages of the dragon tribe would not easily appear in the mystic area. She did not know why they had appeared. She had even encountered such enemies. She did not know whether she was lucky or unlucky. However, no matter what, she would not hand over the dragonwood star core. It was related to her own fate. Most importantly, even if she handed over the dragonwood star core, these sages of the dragon tribe would not let her go. She could feel the evil and murderous intent deep in the hearts of these evil dragons. Humph, stupid human, stubborn. Since you want to die, we will fulfill your wish. We must have the dragonwood star core. It is not something that a small human like you can touch. The three-peak immortal realm sages of the dragon tribe sneered. They immediately took action, splitting into three directions and attacking Yi Mengyao. They wanted to kill this damned human sage instantly and snatch the dragonwood star core. Otherwise, when their parents and seniors came, they would not have a share. Damn it. Yi Mingyao's face was solemn. She could feel that these three immortal sages of the dragon tribe were not joking. She could not hold on, she might really die. Boom, however, at this moment, the void twisted and an invisible illusory power enveloped her. Chapter 24:12. Buzz. In an instant, a powerful soul power shrouded the void, seeping into every corner of this area. The three saints at the peak of immortal realm couldn't resist at all. In an instant, they fell into an illusion as if they were dragged into an illusory world. In this illusory world, they were still madly fighting against Yi Mengyao, immersed in the excitement of getting the dragonwood star core. In reality, they were also dumbstruck. Their eyes were dull and they couldn't move. What's going on? Yi Mengyao was dumbfounded. She had no idea what was going on. Just now, the three saints at the peak of immortal realm surrounded her with a murderous look. She was already prepared to fight to the death with this group of dragon race sages, but she did not expect that the three dragon race sages would suddenly be stunned, as if they were completely controlled by someone. Whoosh! The void twisted and a figure appeared in front of Yi Mengyao. Xiaoping, why are you here? Yi Mengyao's pupils shrank when she saw this figure. How could she not know this person who suddenly appeared in front of her? Even if he turned into ashes, she would still recognize him. After all, the two of them had done something indescribable. One night of wet dreams and he took away her first time. She didn't know how many times this despicable man had appeared in her dreams. However, she never thought that she would meet him in this nameless sea in the mystic area. It's just a coincidence. Xiaoping smiled. I didn't expect to meet you in this nameless sea. Moreover, I happened to see you being chased by a few saints of the dragon clan. If I didn't help you, I'm afraid you would be dead by now. Aha, you mean you helped me? What a joke. Even without you, those useless saints of the dragon clan couldn't have killed me. Hearing these words, Yi Mengyao was filled with anger. She clenched her teeth. This hateful man actually wanted to treat her as his savior. He was really hateful. However, when she saw the three saints at the peak of immortal realm, she was shocked. After all, they were saints at the peak of immortal realm. They were extremely powerful. However, this man had just appeared and instantly subdued the three undying saints. His strength was so strong that it made one's hair stand on end. It was unbelievable. Even though she had more or less heard of Xiaoping's reputation in the universe, she didn't expect his strength to have improved to such a level. It seemed like he could even casually kill an immortal saint. This kind of strength was probably far beyond his own. Still being stubborn? It's the nature of women to say one thing and mean another. Hearing this, Xiaoping shook his head. Don't worry, I'm not trying to save you. I just want to save the child in your stomach. I don't want to kill two people at once. Bullshit, who has a child in their stomach? A dog's mouth can't spit out ivory. Yi Mengyao was so angry that her face turned red. Her beautiful eyes stared at Xiaoping. She simply wanted to eat this guy up. You don't have a baby in your belly? It seems that I guessed wrong. After one night, I almost thought that I had become a cheap father. Xiaoping touched his chin and looked at Yi Mengyao. Damn scum, who would let you become a cheap father? Stop dreaming. Yi Mengyao was so angry that she almost died. Looking at this bastard's worried face, just how many women had he offended? Not only did he show mercy everywhere, but he also left his seed everywhere. Who knew how many illegitimate children this bastard had outside? There might even be some pregnant women looking for him to settle the score and ask for compensation. Forget it, it's best that you didn't make me a father. Let's talk after I capture these 3 saints of the dragon race. Xia Ping waved his hand and wanted to capture the 3 saints of the dragon race. He didn't want to kill them for now. After all, they might be from the dragon world and might know a lot of information about the dragon world. Under torture, he would be able to understand more about the dragon world. This would be of great benefit to him when he entered the dragon world. Stop, you scoundrel. You dare to capture the saints of my dragon race. You are courting death. Release the saints immediately. At this moment, a dragon's roar came from the void in the distance. It was earth-shattering. Ripples that could be seen with the naked eye appeared in a radius of billions of kilometers. Space-time trembled. Oh no, the reinforcements of the dragon race are here. Hearing the terrifying might of the law contained in the voice, Yi Mingyao's expression changed. She could sense that the newcomers were much more powerful than the 3 immortal saints. They had at least reached the near-ancient realm or even the middle-ancient realm. Their strength was unfathomable. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Before she could think of anything, a ripple appeared in the void in the distance. Immediately, 5 saints of the dragon race walked out from the depths of the void. 3 of them had reached the middle ancient realm, while the other 2 were near ancient realm pinnacle dragon race saints. The 5 of them emitted a terrifying draconic aura. The radius of hundreds of light years was enveloped by the draconic aura. Even low-level life forms couldn't maintain a clear mind under such pressure. This was the aura of a superior being. It's over. It's all over now. Yi Mingyao's heart immediately sank. To be honest, she had a trump card that could allow her to escape from the immortal saints. However, she didn't have the confidence to escape from the Middle Ancient Realm saints. That was because the Middle Ancient Realm saints had comprehended the law of time. Before she could even make a move, the time within a radius of billions of kilometers would stop with a single thought. No matter how much power she had, no matter how many trump cards she had, she probably wouldn't be able to use them in front of such existences. She wouldn't even have the chance to use them. The difference between the immortal realm and the middle ancient realm was just too great. I received news that a human saint obtained the Dragonwood Star Core. That's why I rushed over. I thought that the Dragonwood Star Core had long been taken by the juniors of my race. Even that human saint might have been killed. A cold glint flashed in the eyes of one of the middle ancient realm saints. I didn't expect an expert like you to appear in the human race. You can actually control the juniors of my race in an instant. You are indeed very capable. His gaze landed on Xia Ping. This was because the greatest threat to the 2 human race sages was undoubtedly this man. It could sense that this kid's cultivation had already reached the near ancient realm middle stage, and his strength was indeed much stronger than that of its 3 juniors. Human, let's cut the crap. Immediately release the 3 juniors of our race. At the same time, hand over the Dragonwood Star Core. Otherwise, you won't be able to escape death today. Don't think that you can escape from us just because you comprehended the law of space. The power of our dragon race's space-time domain isn't something you can imagine. Our battle prowess far surpasses that of human saints of the same level. The few saints of the dragon race shouted angrily. Their killing intent surged, and their words contained a great threat. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.